Hey guys, I'm Failco, and this is Failure Incorporated. We're a podcast with a bunch of nerds who talk about games, from the good, the bad, and the ugly. Our first episode is us talking about the cult classic, Gigantic. This recording is from my stream on Twitch, so don't judge too hard. Hope you enjoy, and remember, if you did, please follow us. Thanks! What's up? It's me. It's me, Falco. Yo. Dude, what's up? I'm representing Gigantic today. Look. Oh, I'm so gigantic right now. Like I'm so gigantic. You don't even fucking know. back from the dead. Prego, what's up? Who do I mean in Gigantic? My favorite character is Trip. I'm a Trip main.
I wasn't looking at your stream. Now I understand.
Dude, look at me. I'm so gigantic right now.
I get it.
Yeah,
Boy, I'm so curious now. What happened?
I am the OG Trip main.
He's got the hat.
I played lots of Trip and Taito back in the day.
Oh
I like
my
Ashlyn.
gosh.
Dude,
she's gigantic.
Dude, the only thing I'm missing is like the e-girl glasses. They didn't come in time. I was like ready. I was like, let's go. Let's gigantic this up. I got the Taito pin.
Oh my gosh. All right.
I should wear this. What am I doing? Everything's ruined. North Star, dude. Matchmaking screwed with you a few times. Okay. So, wait. Are you saying that there's new people that have been playing the game with you? Like, new people. This is good. This is good. Also, if you guys didn't see North Star's new video, you should fucking watch it. Let me find it really quick for you. This is a really cool video. If people haven't seen, North Star's been like
Here for this.
doing all this shit. Like, it's amazing. It's a lot of work. You guys gotta watch. You guys gotta watch this. Watch this video. It's full of the patches. What's going on? It's full of Taito and T-Mat and whatever the fuck else is in there. Rucker. Yeah, Rucker's in there. Dude, Rascals, what's up?
Oh,
all
man.
these people that I remember
we're
back
psycho.
in the day,
We're psycho.
Okay, so if you guys didn't know, right now we're going to be doing, we're going to be talking about Gigantic, a little bit about like our history with it, what we expected from the launch, and kind of like what's going on now.
He said he thinks he planned incorrectly, and he
all right, hold on one second. There's
gonna be joining on mobile.
So okay,
I don't know if he's gonna be a little bit behind.
I'm like currently like in Discord with people, so if I have to mute, it's because my brain can't think correctly with them talking. So okay, that is on the agenda for today. We're missing one person. SycoAniliz he misplanned, so everybody shame him right now. Shame. I want to see shames in the chat for SycoAniliz because he's late. But we got Wolfie here, we got TruexSin here. You know, this is gonna be, I don't know, like I've been wanting to talk about Gigantic forever and all the things, you know. I don't know if you guys know me, but you'll get to know me in a second. Let's see if we're gonna start.
You can make a fucking college thesis on
okay, so is he not coming?
He is, but he's probably running behind.
Can you guys
However,
hear them
I'm
in
fine
the chat?
with just beginning because
Okay.
I know we all got other schedules to keep.
Let me pull this up. This is gonna be awkward. This is gonna be like
when he pops in.
this is gonna be like awkward.
Doesn't mean we
Also,
can't
my
open with some
camera
pleasantries.
is,
Like, holy shit, Falco! I'm so sorry. I
What?
forgot about like your stream starting at like 2 on Fridays. So
Dude,
it's like, oh wait,
don't
I just
even.
double booked
It's
her.
fine. Look at us. We're gigantic in here.
That was the first thing that came to mind. Was like, oh crap, I double booked
Dude,
her.
Escanor,
What
what's
have
up?
I done?
Corn King,
What
what's
have
up?
I
Yes.
done?
Well, what
This
have I
is-
done?
This is the Gigantic
Oh, man.
podcast location. We're all about Gigantic in
But
here.
it's back.
What else
Hell,
can
so,
I do?
what,
Hold on,
April
let me show
9th,
you one
we're
more
almost
thing.
a full 2 months into its
Fuck,
release,
hold on.
and already what a
Look at
roller
this.
coaster. There's much
This.
that can even be talked about with that.
This is a
we're now
Motiga?
at like what, a 10th
Guys ever know?
of the
Do you know what a
original
Motiga
numbers? Here, let me
is?
pull up the Steam DVD.
This was
I know
sent
it
to me
hurts.
by
I
the
know it
Motiga
hurts.
team before the game died. So
It's just something
they
I
think
don't
I'm
like
really
to think
cool. I
about,
want you to know that.
admittedly. Just how
Sorry, I'm done.
just how many
No,
players
seriously,
we've dropped. I mean,
I'm just gonna say
it's
really
understandable,
quickly.
though, at the same time.
It is.
I'll try to not be
it is tragic, but it is
annoying here,
understandable,
but
you know?
I feel
It
it.
still hurts. For real, though.
Psycho went to get a haircut for this. Are you fucking
Just made
kidding
an
me?
actual, like, browser.
I mean, you say
All right,
it's only been 2 months.
Okay, wait.
is-
Are we starting? We're not
We,
starting.
we can just start talking about light stuff, some pleasantries. and
Okay.
Oh, he's right there.
And we,
He's
oh,
right there, I
yeah,
see him.
he's right there. He's right there. The run is saved.
I
The run
don't
is saved.
feel like
I see
dragging him up though. I'm just kidding. All right. Okay.
Oh
We have
my
the whole
God.
crew here now. We have the whole crew here, guys.
Oh my God.
So let me know if you can hear them. Guys, talk in the chat.
We'll see.
Can you hear them? Psycho, show everybody your haircut.
Well, I only got part of it done because I ran out of time.
Oh,
How do you get part of a haircut?
They didn't do the top
Hey,
yet.
Egglum. They didn't do the top yet?
Yeah, I ran out of time.
That's amazing.
that is pretty funny.
All right, everybody
Did you
demands
run
a
out of
picture.
time for a haircut.
I demand a picture.
Because
Who's
a
Psycho?
work thing
Yeah.
came up at last minute, so I wasn't able to actually
on,
get to the
Elias.
barber until 4:30.
That's tragic.
Oh my God, this man.
Well, hopefully
This man in
everything's
timing.
okay.
All right, well,
Cut hair like they're on crack.
you've all been shamed. It's fine.
Normally finish in 20 minutes. They didn't. this
So,
time.
okay,
I got
Ilias,
one of the slow methodic
Psycho
people
is
for
like
once.
a person who knows the devs. He knows a lot about what's going on in Gigantic.
Hey,
We're
by the
all
way, is this a
massive
recording
fans
or a
of
live stream?
Gigantic.
It will be
Uh-uh.
recorded, but we can always edit out like the downtime.
I am going to be posting a picture of your haircut on the stream.
Dang, if it was a recording, I just would have let him finish the top.
Oh my God. You're kind of like cutting in and out.
Because he's on his phone.
Yeah, that's because I'm on my cell phone.
Hey,
right
Smash
now.
Guy, what's up?
So let's swap this over here real quick.
All right. I'm going to turn the music
So-
down.
Oh man.
Okay.
Gig.
Are we getting this
gig.
started right now?
I'm okay too.
Okay, guys.
Gig. What a painful topic, right?
Yeah, I have 3 dogs, rascals.
What part, like, of anything to do with gig hasn't already been
Ilias,
ingrained in us?
you'll learn what
like,
Gigantic is.
To quote North Star from
You'll learn.
earlier, he had somebody he ended up somehow talking into like playing the game. And I'm not
Show
saying
you
somehow as if
Gigantic.
North Star can't sell a game. It's more like
Mhm.
like the idea of somebody picking up Gigantic right now, given the current streak that it's had. It's
You guys
it's
hear
wild
that?
to me. We started out pretty strong, at least if you were to
Mhm.
take. I want to take Ed's math here. So Ed was talking to me earlier
Hold
about
on,
this.
I'll show you
where
about
I believe
Gigantic.
Steam would be like 10% of Gig's total number right now. So
Uh-huh.
that would mean that at the best, consoles or other platforms are filling in the other 90%. So if 10% right now is 116, then what would the whole be if 10% was the 6,112? We'll just round it to 6,000 right there.
Oops, hold on.
It's not a lot. know.
Gigantic is great. How dare you say anything about this game that's the best game in the world? Okay, like I'm a Gigantic like lover. Okay, how dare you say anything mean about the game? I can't
So if
believe
that
I'd
is
say this.
10%, so we can literally just take that and times
Oops,
it by
still
10.
luck.
So that would be 60,000 people.
Don't
right?
look at this. There we
So
go.
if that was the idea that we started with 60,000 people,
Don't look at that.
we're down now to what, 116 just on
I'll
Steam.
show you Gigantic
So
gameplay in the background.
if that was 10% of that, if we just rounded to the peak, specifically 140,
Hold on.
what,
I'm
1,400?
Really prepared here.
so
Look how
if
prepared I am.
we were just take guesstimate numbers like
Okay,
this.
this is Gigantic. I'll play it in the background for you guys.
And for the crux, like I know this is going to be the downing, the most down,
Shay, what's up?
should we say like depressing
doing?
part of any conversation with this is how did we get here? I love Psycho so much. This title that you came up with that. He came up with that so fast too. Like literally just in a message
doing a
after
podcast
he
ended
ended
now.
up saying "stuck on the airship" and it's
Gigantic
amazing
gameplay
It's
right
so
here.
good.
because
I
that's what it
love
feels
that.
like.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
what it feels like.
Wait, before
mean,
you guys get further into this, I feel like you skipped the intro. So let's really quickly explain who the fuck am I talking to? First of all,
Okay.
I'm going to explain who I am because everyone should know me. I'm FailcoPunch. If you don't know who I am, well, come on, guys. I was long term in the gigantic scene, making content. It all sucked back in the day.
It did not, okay.
But
was
you know,
gonna
we've
say,
learned
it did
since
not.
then. And you know what? Like we're all fans of Gigantic though, but yeah, we played back in the day. The three of us, well, the four of us, we all played back in the day when the game was new. Um, some of you I don't recognize in the chat. Like I don't know you from back in the day, but it doesn't matter. There's a whole new community now. There's whole new people. Anyway,
Yeah, for the
Sin,
most
who
part,
the
we're
fuck are
like
you?
from the older
Tell
one.
them.
Hello, everybody. I'm
Oh, thank you,
TruexSin.
Shay. Thank you.
I'm mainly was known for
Echo, shut
like
up.
competitive play during the original Go of Gig. Ended up switching more into focusing on entertainment through the streams and stuff towards the end of Gig. Pretty tragic path, at least when it comes to anything with competitive Gig. It is a very heartbreaking pathway for most of the teams. However, I did get the best opportunity in being able to like make a lot of friends along the way, and me and Falco ended up on a couple teams after her time on Vanguard. And eventually ended up on Wildfire. And then for some reason, we just kept on duoing all the time. And even to now, like that friendship has gone pretty strong. And it's been a very fortunate thing for myself. And now here we're back
Aw.
again. We're looking at the content creation side. I'm
Aw.
just a blue-nosed ghost most of the time. Hello, everybody who's probably never seen my face.
Oh man.
But yes, I've just been kind of like a lurking player, in and out constantly. I'm washed, I'm old, and that's how that goes.
Yeah, we became friends from the worst part ever too. I was really salty and mean to him, and now we're friends. That's how you make friends back in the day.
Oh, that leads me to mention, chat. Do you want to know what the first things Falco ever said to me were?
I set
Oh,
myself
no.
up for this. Oh no.
So, Falco back in the day
Oh,
was
fix
far
this.
more saltier.
I
The
was
number one
nice.
thing she
He's
hated the most,
lying.
and I didn't know at the time because this was also the first time I ever tuned into her stream.
Well, I'm
It was a
fixing
hard match, and we won. And I didn't know that Falco greatly disliked people telling her GG after matches. And I went into her chat so fucking proud I beat her 3-stack. And I said, I added her in her own chat and I said, GG, Falco. And she goes, Sin, were you the title? Fucking kill yourself.
That's a lie. That's lies and slander. He's lying.
Oh my God.
Shit.
First
Okay.
things. And to think that now, like, we're pretty good friends.
We're
I
not
mean,
like
she
that anymore.
the best part is she wasn't serious.
No,
Old me
it's
was
just, like,
mean.
For the moment, like she's just full of rage.
she was just angry because of the match.
Oh
And it
my
makes
gosh.
sense. Like,
I was
that
such
was
an
then.
asshole.
And I came to find out afterwards. And
Never
it's
heard
just
of you,
crazy
bitch.
that here we are today.
I guess-
You're
I guess I'll
informed.
go next. I'm
Oh my
Wolfie,
gosh, sorry.
or now more recently I'm known as WolfieCasts. I'm the shoutcaster guy that you see on all the tournaments so far, the community
Yeah.
made ones and ones back from years and years ago. I also have a YouTube channel. I've had
Mhm.
several YouTube channels, or I've been involved with several YouTube channels making video for them, and now I have my own because
Hell yeah.
it's just easier to make my own things than try to rely on a tertiary company to make things
Mhm.
and continue
Mhm.
flowing that way. He just moved channels, I think. He might
I
be.
think
He
he
might
just
have
joining on his computer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Oh, there he is.
Wolfie, you're amazing. You bring so much to the community events that have been, created. Honestly, you've been doing a great job. I mean, with the state of customs and everything that I'm sure we'll get into, you have been very entertaining in all the tournaments I've been watching. So,
Well,
God, I
if we-
appreciate you.
If we don't get to customs, I mean, I'll talk about it.
Don't talk ill
but-
of Wolfie.
Yeah. Other than that, longtime player, probably just as old, if not older, than these other chuckleheads in here. And yeah, I'm not super great at the game, but I'm
Justin,
well
what's
respected
up?
among veteran and new players. I do mostly informative videos. I don't do funny things
Dude.
necessarily like Falco does. That's
Red,
probably
White,
why she has
Esquire,
more
thanks for the
subscribers
sub.
than me. But yeah,
I'm not funny, okay? Girls are not funny, so.
no, you're
Right.
very funny.
I appreciate
Last but
that.
not least.
You're
Psycho.
amazing.
All right. Well, hey, I am on my PC now, so how do I sound?
Much
Great.
clearer.
Awesome. Perfect.
He's not a robot.
I am SycoAniliz. You know, same story as all these guys. I've been kicking around since
Okay.
the
12 years.
beginning, pretty much.
Wow.
Got my start in the beta, and
Mhm.
played it through to the ends. Afterwards, I became heavily active in the Gigantic Heaven Discord, where we host games. Ended up having the server that was used the most. Eventually made mod there as well. So between now and then, that's kind of where I've been hanging
Doing a
out.
podcast.
And now that we're back, I have dropped off a lot from what I used to do. I don't make content anymore. I
Mhm.
don't stream nearly as often, but I do still stream. And even though my reaction time a lot slower and I can't play for as long, I'm actually better now than I was.
Really? Better now than you were, huh?
I
He's
kind
got
of
to
feel
practice
It's-
so
it's
much in the
because of
hydraulic
Gigantic
crime
Heaven.
chamber.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
I kind of feel that way too.
Wow. I
actually,
feel like I'm
in some ways.
worse. Like a lot worse. Like I feel.
Yeah, I can actually play Assassins now. I could never play Assassins before.
I
Well,
mean,
it's also I was going to bring this up maybe possibly when
Justin,
we
we're doing
started
a,
talking about it, but
podcast
I feel
about
like the player
Gigantic.
base in overall
Can you
general
guys
has
hear
like
them?
gotten better, which
On
is a
Discord?
good thing.
Let me
Like,
know.
not a bad thing at
I mean,
all.
these types of games have been out for a while now, you know?
Yeah,
like
Okay, cool.
some of the mechanically speaking, players aren't really any better. But overall, of course. But they are a lot better at positioning and team play. Because back when this came
Okay.
out,
Hmm.
that concept was pretty new. You know, the big things were Halo, Call of Duty, you know, really like solo carry heavy games.
Mhm.
What about Overwatch?
Well, Overwatch was new then too.
Yeah, Overwatch came in right before Gigantic, as usual, as timing never works out for Gigantic ever.
Never did.
And
Anytime Gig tried to do anything, its competitors are right there at its heels.
Yeah.
yes, absolutely, every time. So yeah, like when we were all playing this game, you know, we experienced like a lot of the same things that are kind of still happening. I mean, there were still always levers. There were penalties back then, but it didn't stop people.
Yeah, it
Um,
didn't stop people. It was a free game. They just created a new account and go back at it.
It's crazy though. I feel like jumping into a game of Gigantic now, there's just people who just know so much more than most of the population did when we were playing. That you know, there is a nice mix of players that are pretty damn good, and you know, I still see new people when I jump in, and that's kind of amazing.
Whether they're changing their Steam name or not. A lot of what I want to attribute to
do.
that is something
Just
I've
like
learned and noticed from the private server is that a lot of these folk, whether they got the chance to play, either having equipment, the system didn't meet the system requirements, or they did, whatever circumstances were in between, they
Right.
consumed content for Gig during the first release of things, and maybe they already had a baseline to play from there, or maybe they picked up just from prior knowledge of what they've learned from people they watched, or just in general, like when it came to the private server, because again, Gig's been gone for quite a while. Time has passed. Much has changed with each of us outside of our time committed to the game and committed to the community or the environment from there. And some of these people, like that's probably the most recurring thing that I remember hearing the most is, oh, I used to watch Falco, or I used to watch Paul, I used to watch
couple.
Steve all the time. And like they were, a lot of them have also
yeah,
similar
it
thing where
was-
it's like, I used to be so bad because like I was so new to the game. I was so infantile as well. And now like, God, look at
Now you're
Ben.
an
I
old
remember
man.
Ben when, I'm an old man, but the
Yeah,
best
Ben and
example
I
of it
used
is
to
like
play
Ben.
a lot back then too. Yeah.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a great
Ben, I
example.
remember
Oh my gosh.
just always being in the chat, like everyone's chat. He was always consuming Gig media.
Chat,
And then,
who's your
like,
favorite
look at him now.
Gigantic
Like, he's
streamer?
probably one of the top 5, if not top 3 for the game at the moment when he can play. Right now, it's a very starry state
favorite?
for any high level players because Gig's once again in a rough spot, but we'll get to that for a different topic.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So, okay, I have a question for you guys. What is your all-time favorite thing about Gigantic? Like, what makes you be like, oh yeah, Gigantic, that's my favorite game? Like, what's your all-time favorite?
Iframes.
Iframes?
I'll-
Okay.
I'll start off. It just my answer isn't going to be any one thing. because it's how the combination
Corn
works.
game.
So if I had to boil it down
Defeatist
to
attitude,
a
huh?
more simple
I
answer,
gotta watch that.
it's how much it encourages team.
Okay, so you like the
I'm-
team play stuff.
I like the team play.
Okay.
Solo carry is still somewhat possible. There are other things that you can do beside just getting kills to solo carry, and that's another aspect that makes me prefer this over other things. But really, I've always liked team-oriented video games that actually require teamwork to do well in.
Right,
And I don't
okay.
really feel like most games I've played hit that the way that Gigantic does.
I have to
I
agree.
feel that.
Okay.
Are we talking favorite thing like about the game or just kind of what the game has brought? Because I have a different answer.
Anything like
that's a
Gig
different
with this.
question.
'Cause For most people, it would be like the art. Like that's also a huge thing. Most people love the art.
How dare you
I mean,
say
that
I
was
like
what
art.
drew me in. I was at RTX
that's true with everyone.
2016, 2017.
Hell yes,
And they
that's
just
who
had
knows.
this gorgeous display with this super
Thanks,
unique art
Setsu.
style.
Mhm.
And I was actually a
get
vendor,
5
so I
points.
couldn't play basically the entire weekend. And
Apollo's really nice.
I was
too.
able to get in early one morning before lines opened and got to play one game.
Oh, nice.
And that's actually what turned me into a Mozu main. I really wanted to play the
Cool.
frog, but one of the community people they had working there stole him before I could. So I ended up on Mozu. And now not only I'm a Mozu main, but she's on my car.
What?
Yeah, he has.
Have you
artwork
not
for
seen the
on
Mozu
car.
Miata yet?
You have
That's amazing.
Mozu on your car? I gotta see that.
I'll post the Reddit link.
That's amazing. We're gonna have to see that. Presentation, art direction. I believe that.
I
I
think
100%
my-
agree. Smash guy.
I think my favorite thing about the game is just how it's just I feel like I have a very broad answer, but it's just like how unique it is. Like there's
Okay.
there are so many games that kind of have this same template of what Gigantic is. It's like hero
Psycho, just
shooter
send it to me. I'll post it.
/ MOBA.
Yeah, got
like
you.
there are these little things that a lot of people compare to other games. Like we've talked about.
Oh
like,
no, it's all good.
what was it? Renegade. What was it called now? Now that they
Everybody gotta look at this
did
shit.
it.
Look at this.
Doesn't matter. Like Overwatch got related to this game. Paladins got related to this game. Like all this stuff, we all know them.
Look at this
But,
car.
like,
Born.
Nothing
See this?
nothing really hits like this game because of the fact that it's just so different. Like having the huge guardians and the power race, summoning creatures, the stamina management. Like
Somebody's
it's just
obsessed. Am I right?
there's
Look at this.
nothing else that has ever been like this
amazing,
game.
though.
And that's why I think a lot of people
Wow.
still want to play it and still talk about it.
Oh my god.
Because like it
This
scratches an itch in your
insane.
brain that
This is
nothing else on the
literally
market does.
insane.
That's
Oh
it's
my
always
gosh.
been my favorite thing about it. It's just how unique it is.
Wow. I'm impressed.
The movement for this, and while yes,
man,
every game
so
has
cool.
movement. Blade has movement. Overwatch has movement tech.
Pretty
Revan.
good.
Marvel Rivals already
Pretty
has
good.
movement tech. Of course, there's so many other games that have movement, but no game does it like Gig either.
Somebody's a big fan.
It's either too much aerial or not enough aerial.
Mhm.
And with Gig, it just feels like everyone has always had a way or form of interacting with the map
Yep.
in getting from point A to point B.
Right?
And
It's
as
very
mentioned,
impressive.
encouraged,
Let's get one
like
more time.
Sven enables his team for that same level of mobility. Voden enables his team
Ridiculous.
for that same level of mobility.
Okay.
You want
Sorry.
team speed boost, Mozu Paco.
yeah.
So on and so
Voden's-
forth. You get what I'm saying.
Voden's one of the more unique heroes I've ever seen in terms of kit. So fun to play.
Mhm.
Yeah, and in that
Yeah.
in that same vein
Those are all really good
Um,
answers.
of something that other games just haven't done is the balance between melee and ranged. Like, it's really hard to find a game where both work and neither feel awful or neither feel terribly OP. And outside of a few edge cases, the balance between melee and ranged is incredible. You've got people who will
Guys,
exclusively
what's your favorite
play
hero? Let's
melee
hear
and have
it.
a fantastic time, and then you'll have people exclusively playing ranged and having a fantastic time, and that's across
These are
all
mine.
levels of skill.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
voted in close third.
Yeah, I agree.
I like that. So, okay. So we have like things we really love about it. Things that will, you know, compare this game to every other game from, basically. That's how it is, right? Whenever you play a new PvP game, it's like, how much does it remind me of Gigantic? Like, that's how I feel every time. So like, okay. So I'm curious what you guys think. After Gigantic met its, you know, untimely demise and went away, and there were like 5 million passion projects, you know, I was on one. I'm sure other people were too, on different things. There was a lot going on. We were all like scrambling to revive this game that we all loved. So like, what happened? Like, how did you feel when you first heard rumblings that Gigantic was going to come back?
Oh gosh.
I was in disbelief. I can't really talk too much on this one, but yeah, I was in disbelief,
Thanks,
and
Thank
it wasn't
you.
until
I love you too.
it wasn't until I've got contacted by a very specific individual that kind of like pushed me in the right direction, the right thread to follow this copium, this hope,
What?
that it actually swayed me. And at that point, it was the you know, it needs to make it to the finish line. Like, it needs to see the light of day one more time. That's all I
Ooh.
cared about. Like, that's all I cared about, was hearing like another lead, was like just staying on that trail. And even then, like,
Wow.
throughout that time, like there was
Magic.
years where I just heard nothing. And that's how it was for like every project too. Like, anytime there was like a revival thing where it was just like, it was the same way. Like, I was huffing that copium so much that it didn't matter how many revival projects I kind of like got pulled into. It was, I want to see it happen. Like, I just want to see this game thriving again.
That's so funny. Wow. Yeah, that's really good. Honestly, like, when Gigantic died, first of all, I cried. I remember actually crying. I remember doing the last
I'm not afraid to
stream.
admit the same here.
Oh yeah, I remember doing. I was like on the last like Gigantic stream that they did. My last game, somebody left, and it was the worst game I had ever played. But it didn't matter because it was Gigantic, right? And yeah, and then I remember I left everything. I left Discords. I just couldn't deal with it. It was like losing a friend. It was really strange how tight knit we were. We all
Absolutely.
still.
I actually fell into like a deep
Isn't that
depression, and I
crazy?
didn't play video games for almost 2 years.
Oh my god! Wow. Now
I mean,
that
other
makes
than like single player stuff. I mean, it also
Wow.
coincided in a bad time
depression,
where I also just actually hit a depressive episode, not knowing that I had depression. So
That's
like
very
the timing
sad.
was terrible.
Yeah.
But like I just
Damn.
couldn't have fun with any multiplayer video game. Gigantic had entirely ruined me. I tried, and just
Wow.
nothing was fun. The first thing that really started
Yeah.
to get me out of it, at least for a short time, was Apex Legends.
Oh wow.
And that was
Okay.
mostly because of the movement system.
Mhm.
It was the
Interesting.
only thing that had a movement system that had a similar fluidity.
Solo games are great for us old people. It's
I actually
true.
liked Apex Legends a while ago too.
I couldn't get into it. I tried. So many people try to push me towards it as well, because there's like, it's got a good movement system, but I just couldn't.
Mhm.
I don't think I
It's-
played PvP games with anybody for a while after that. I was just like, nah, fuck this.
No, it was tough. Similar, no, like I went on a huge like depressive spiral. Like, I've had a lot of changes since then.
Guys, were you
I
all
think
depressed?
looking back, it was
after
the biggest
Gigantic died?
illusion,
How did you
not
feel?
only for myself, but
Chat.
I can now compare with others as well. Like, it was the biggest illusion to tell myself, the biggest lie to tell myself, that without Gig, there was nothing there to hold people together. But in reality, it's like, it's just been sparks. Every little time that like something's been happening with Gig, it's just been sparks
Mhm.
where I got the chance to like talk with my friends again. I got the
Mhm.
chance to like connect with people again. But it wasn't
Yeah.
really, for some reason, even then, it never fully clicked for us until we got that announcement, April 9th. And then
April
the
9th.
floodgates opened up. Like, we
Isn't that
got those
crazy?
first tests happening, we got the full date, and then the floodgates opened up. I started talking, like,
Disintegration,
Tori and I
you have your life
reconnected
together
fully,
then.
Falco and I reconnected fully, like, talking with so
Yeah.
many people again. Like, it's insane. Like, just
Mhm.
the notion, just Gig being back on the map, even as a tiny speck, even as a tiny dot, how much that actually changed everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually crazy. I don't know about you guys, but for me, Gigantic is kind of the first community I've ever been part of. And it's just so interesting to me that we've been in this weird position where we can talk to the devs. Like they do acknowledge and know and listen. They try. And especially Motiga back in the day, they really cared a lot and they were involved with our community. They had like a, community moderator. He was amazing, always talking to the community and individuals. And it's just crazy how I guess like a small population just made us like everyone knew each other. And even if we were assholes to each other here and there, it was weird. We all became friends in this way. Kind of crazy that this happens. Never happened to me before. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah,
No.
it wasn't my first community, but it was close because the game that I came from before Gigantic was a thing was a good old MOBA called Dawngate, which I know at least Falco's familiar with.
Oh, that's the saddest thing ever.
Rick just showed me
Dawngate.
clips of it.
Another
God, it was so much fun. And
another
also
game that failed.
very different, despite having
Another
the same general
dead game,
template. But
basically.
anyway,
Dawngate.
I mean, basically everything
It's
that you
funny.
said, I can't help but echo it. Like,
You think
it's
about
just,
Gigantic
it
every
was
year.
so
Yeah, me too.
crazy
too.
how dedicated and,
Kinda
and
wild.
small the community was, but we were still just like a lot of people knew
Wow.
each other, played together, respected one another.
Mhm.
Like, of course, there were trifles here and there. People argue and people fight, but it's like it. To
Yep.
me, it always felt like one of those like
Mhm.
sibling things. Like, oh, fuck you, you're just better. Like, try harder, idiot. Like, it wasn't.
Try
It wasn't
harder.
ever. It wasn't ever like super serious, which I always appreciated. That everyone always ended up like wanting to like roll off of each other and get better. Like people were making scrims and teams, and of
Yeah,
course those never
disintegration. It's
like super
me,
went
Sin,
anywhere because we
Wolfie,
never
and
had anything that could
SycoAniliz.
be considered
He's somebody
professional.
who knows a lot
Right?
of the
Like
dev
no one ever
stuff.
got paid to win a Gigantic tournament.
Well,
Yes.
some of
Yes.
those did come through, but they were very, very few far in between. It was like
Yeah.
I think Tourney Today was the only one that ended up using money as kind of like the incentive for the winning. But
Oh,
even
yeah,
then,
money.
like every team didn't get paid. Not all the teams got paid.
Well, you
Like-
know what? In terms of the community being such a big deal, like only because of the community did that even happen.
Yes.
Which is kind of wild. So like no matter the varying qualities of events that have happened with this game, they have literally only been started by the community. I mean, I think that's amazing. Like people are spending a lot of time every time organizing these events, making them run, spectating, and that was before spectating was a thing.
Yeah.
That I feel bad for the people who were shoutcasting back then.
Jerry rigging old tournament spectator mode.
Yeah,
It was
like at
so
least
hard.
At least it works now, which is amazing. Which is like a new feature that we've got, which I guess can bring us to talking about the new gigantic
Rampage Edition.
Gigantic Rampage Edition.
Rampage.
So we should definitely start talking about
Gigantic
that.
Re-edition.
So okay, let's first start about talking about kind of like what was promised, and then we can roll into the release week and talk about that.
Oh man.
There's a lot to
Okay.
unpack.
Let me just take the heaviest hitting one out of the way. We were
Okay,
promised
yep.
a working game.
What? How dare you? That was totally working.
That's saying it in like a super like general
Yeah.
kind of a sense.
Loose term.
However, let's actually like unpack that a little bit and think about it.
It doesn't work.
Let's take the rose-colored shades off for a brief moment because let's talk about Test 1 and Test 2 before the
Yeah.
game came out. The throwback event and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's
Josh
what we're
was
talking about, like the
distraught.
throwback
Mhm.
event.
I remember that.
And then the test they did
Right.
just after that too, before the release.
Yeah.
Creating crew.
hmm
How long were we creating crew? How long did we spend there chatting with our friends? Now that's the important part. Let's think about how much we chatted with our friends and how much that time kind of slipped away because we were either reconnecting with old friends we used to queue with,
Mhm.
right? And like once we got into the matches, whether they were 4 minutes or 40 minutes, depending on how sweaty the matches were or close,
Right.
like, that was the big thing.
Mhm.
Was how long were we stuck in the menus? How many times did we have to restart the game? You got to create a crew to merge a crew, and then guess what? You got bumped back to the main menu. Everybody's got to restart their games. You got to create the crew again, merge the crew again, and let's not go down this spiral staircase anymore. But you get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
even
Yeah,
during those
and
tests,
during those tests, we didn't
2
care
or 3
too much
hours
about them
crew
because
up.
of all those
Holy
things that you
shit.
mentioned.
It's insane.
But those were the tests.
I feel like generally speaking,
Stonewall
at least for
Dan,
me, I think
thank you
that
for
the
follow.
second
I don't know why it's not
play
displaying
test was
that.
a lot rougher than the first one.
Gosh dang it.
was
Sorry, guys.
Like it just
nuts.
it just felt
I gotta fix this
really
shit.
bad. Like
Thank you for the follow.
I mean, in the end, it almost felt like it was more worth it just to like queue with one other person. As soon as it felt like you were trying to get a team together that was more than or 3 or more people,
Why
it
is
just
this
wouldn't
working?
work, like ever. People weren't
Real.
connecting.
Mhm.
Like the the spinning
Disable them for now.
the spinning swirling icon and the words that you
How you
just
doing,
get ingrained in your
Stonewall?
head just they don't go away because you're never moving past that screen for the next 10 minutes, and then you
For
think
real.
Yes.
you think like, man, it'll work at some point. Like I don't want to reset. I've already waited for so long,
You
and
know-
then it doesn't do it. So then you fully reset. Then it finally works, and then someone else that was already in the crew, sitting pretty, suddenly they're not working.
So funny.
You
You know what was so funny about that though? It's weird to me that everybody kind of like was trying to solve it together as like Team Gigantic, you know?
Yeah.
We were like, okay, don't worry, we're all gonna be able to play together. It's worth it. Let's solve it together. And we all came up with like solutions. Oh, I found this worked. Okay, we gotta restart the game. Okay, we gotta do this. And we would do it. We
Yeah.
would do it.
I love that there was a
But why were we having to
before.
troubleshoot that? Like that's the other
Absolutely
issue.
not.
Like why were we having to troubleshoot that?
Look, we
Literally,
are
we
QA,
spent
okay?
2 days creating crew.
I'm still creating crew, okay? I'll have nightmares about that.
I mean, hey, but we did finish building those paths.
Yes, the paths have been rebuilt.
They're
have
finished.
been rebuilt.
They've
Yeah.
done it.
Oh, let's go to the next thing. Oh, may the paths have been rebuilt, but now so too do your builds for yet
Ah.
another patch.
Oh, please. I've been having to recreate builds at least 10 different times during this.
I
game.
am one of the lucky ones. I've never had to recreate any
Oh
of my
my
builds.
gosh.
That bug has skipped me by
Lucky
entirely.
you.
But now,
Lucky you.
since it's hitting everybody, I've got to for the first time.
Every
Yeah.
time I opened the game, I would have to do that. There was a point I had to do it.
Yeah.
So I would just be like, I don't care. I'm just doing base builds. I don't care anymore. Because I would just do rush. I was like, whatever. Fast games.
Look, They care. They care. They care so much about people's ability to play that they also make sure that you play the tutorial again every time.
Oh, good. I like the. At least there is one.
I mean, they're
you know.
Yeah, at least
old, man.
Oh my god, let's not rewind to how many times the tutorial has changed because
Well, you know, Gigantic's a game that, just real quick side note, has never had a good way to teach players how to play it.
never.
Ever. And
It's
never will.
never had one.
Never will.
It was such a pain point. They remade the tutorial so many times.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta
But I
have
mean,
that.
the
power.
latest tutorials are fantastic. They're wonderful. It's still not enough. It's just,
It'll never be enough.
how do you do it with a game like Gigantic?
Yeah, there's so much convolutedness to it. I found in since we're on
I
the,
don't know. What do you guys
the
think,
subject
chat?
kind of
How do you think they
tutorials,
could
I
have
found an
improved
old
teaching the
but
game?
good video back on the original
Seriously.
Gigantic YouTube channel
Crowdsourcing.
where
do you think?
it's you know it's all Imani talking about the tutorial. Like, you know,
Aw.
they've got like this story thing, and it's just a full video of like how the power system works and like how
Amazing.
summoning creatures work
Mhm.
and everything. But it's like it's Imani narrating with like little quips from Lord Nasus every now and
That's
then.
cool.
It is such a good video. It is
Aw.
such a good video.
Was it pre-Microsoft?
I think it was around the
Aw,
same
this makes me
time.
so sad.
Oh, so it was after they made it for Microsoft?
Gigantic.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
pretty sure. If I can find it and send
so
it to you guys, I'm
thirsty.
actually a little
No, I am
surprised
actually.
Falco hasn't seen it.
Oh, Feckle's been around with the game for a long time. She's seen like Power Paws. She's seen the Pac-Man orbs.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
She
And
was
I
one of
have
the
all the
original people to put
skins.
hands on Magma.
this was pre-Power Pause. This was before Sanctum
my
had only
gosh.
2 allied points.
Wow.
So like this is an old video. But
Oh,
like
so that's definitely before Microsoft.
I want to see it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
should you should find it.
I swear you guys have probably seen it. You
I
just don't
might have.
remember it.
I
Like,
might
but
have.
but still,
Look,
like
it's been a
I
long
wish
time.
we could have old Sanctums back, but that's just me. I'm
No.
hoping for
I
that.
mean, I
When
like
they-
when
parts
they
of it,
split
but
things up, I
the part
hated
that
it.
I don't like is what you do like, Sin.
Even you've seen
You
it.
like
You've
Secret
seen
being
it.
the way it used to be, and I absolutely despise it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gigantic's one of the
That-
hardest games.
I don't
to
even
learn.
care if they remove. So Sanctum used to
in
have 3
terms of
points outside of the
teachability,
middle
it
points
is
for
definitely a
each team.
difficult
You had A,
game.
B, and C. B used to be by
Well,
the bell. A used to be where it normally
Thanks,
is,
Corn
and C is
King.
where
I
it normally
appreciate
is.
you.
They removed B, and they removed when they removed layers, and that's
Do you
okay.
guys
Like,
remember,
that's fine. I get why they
the
would do
old
that.
maps?
But the one thing that actually
How big
tilted
they
me
used
the
to
most
be?
was them adding
Do
the
you
ramp over to
prefer
Secret.
old maps to new
And for those
maps?
of you who don't know what Secret is, I'm specifically talking
I remember
about in
Secret.
Sanctum's Fall. In Sanctum's Fall, pre-Clash, you have
I know
those
these
tunnels
things.
that go back towards A point. Used to, it was where you would go to reach the Guardians.
Mhm.
One of the ways you could go
Mhm.
back there to reach the Guardians with by taking less fire. But yeah, when they added the ramps, it became far more accessible to everyone.
Mhm.
It was okay, and I understand why they did it for design, but man,
It was like these things are iteration, right? Like there's a lot of iteration. There was a lot of live iteration, which I think isn't bad. Like I think it's cool that they saw problems and they were trying to make games faster, make it easier to understand where to go. Like if you have a lot of extra space, it can be confusing for new players. That's the problem, right?
And it slowed down the games a lot because the maps
Did.
were so big and the Guardians were so far back at the beginning of the game.
What's happening? Hot take.
Yeah.
I don't think Heaven's
we're
Hall.
we're
You mean
we're
Heaven's
like
Ward?
rotating topics every
I know
couple
it's hard.
sentences now.
It's easy
that's
to
honestly the whole thing about this is just we're mainly just talking about Gig, and that's what matters.
It's okay.
So
I just,
okay.
I just
Okay.
wanted to be aware.
So we played, when they had the open beta, it was exciting. It was like we all got in there and we were like, wow, what a cool preview of things to come, right? It felt like there was hope. There was so much hype. Oh my god.
Yeah.
There were like giant streamers playing the game that had gotten in. It felt very exclusive. I remember I didn't even get a fucking invitation. I was so mad. And I got in anyway. I was like, excuse me?
I didn't know that.
Oh no, I didn't get
You got
an
other things,
invitation, but I
Falco,
got
like
it
a skin
anyway.
that would crash the game.
Yeah, exactly. But okay, so like after that happened, I remember being really hype. I remember, wow, we played this new mode called Rush. The game looks different. It's saturated.
Yeah, there's so much has changed already.
The icons were different. Yeah, I remember like seeing all the menus. Like it was clear. A different team had come in, put a new coat of paint on things, and shoved it out, and it felt exciting. We all felt like it was gonna explode, right?
Exactly. I feel like we were all super hyped. I mean,
Yeah.
there were a couple
Not
people
be.
here and
Call
there
it
that
fall because of
were
obvious things.
a little skeptical. Like honestly,
Heaven's Cliff, that's
it
what I
was,
call it.
It was the idea of being
Cliff
a
Falls.
realist versus kind of just
Just
having
bored.
these super amazing like hopes and dreams of a game like taking off like I have. But like
Mhm.
it's just like we were all super hyped. I mean, my whole revival of my YouTube channel was revolving around the fact that this game was coming back, and I was on a deadline to release a basics video for every character before the release came out, and I did that. Like I made that happen.
I
was
think that's
that was
amazing.
my one goal, and
Mhm.
I made an over like a brief overview of every character and their basic abilities between that second test and when the game released.
Wow, that's a lot of work. That is a lot of effort. And you put a lot of work into those. I remember they were very in depth.
Yeah.
I wish. So, okay. When it came out, the hype, it was awesome. We were all excited.
Mhm.
And then the game finally releases. So let's talk
And-
about
and-
that.
And this is one thing I want to precurse just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It was clear, like you said, there was a new team working on the game. A ton of work had been done on the game.
Yep.
Yes.
There are some issues,
Mhm.
but the issues they would be bad for release, but they're not that big.
Right.
It's not too bad. And they've got time. And
That-
then
Bad
April
time.
9th.
Really, really good point. You're so right. When we saw the preview of the game, we figured, oh, look at these issues. They don't seem that bad. They can easily fix these things before they release. No problem. And then it released. And then the real issues started to show.
And somehow, not only were the issues that we had prior, even all the way back from the
crazy
the event build, it was worse.
Yep.
It was somehow
it got worse.
Yeah, it's one thing to,
crazy.
because at least for me, I don't know if everyone else felt this way, but
How
for
do you guys
me, it
feel
was
about
like,
the release?
oh, it must just be server bandwidth. Like there just have
Yes.
to be way more players than they expected, than
Mhm.
anyone expected. Like surely there's going to be problems. But then the problems continued after hours. The problems continued after days. The problems continued after 2 weeks of people just not being able to connect to games, not being able to connect to crew.
Yeah.
It kept getting worse. And it was just like,
Yep.
what
Mhm.
happened?
Yep.
Why?
Yeah.
Why is it
We
like
may
this?
never know. Like that's probably the
Yeah.
saddest part, is that we may never know exactly what happened.
Yeah,
We can
I
speculate, and
have
that's
some
the best that
theories,
we can do.
but that's not something I want to do here.
Okay.
Exactly. I agree.
That's fair.
Because it's the same way. We can always speculate. We may never know exactly what happens, but this is where one of those situations. Like for us, it's not a matter of what happened. Would we love to know? Of course, because we would always love to know what is going on with
I
our
need to know. I'm
beloved
nosy.
title, like our beloved franchise. Like, hell,
I
Falco,
wanna
you want to keep so much tabs on
I
the
wanna know
game. Like
so
you even
badly.
like signed up to be a mod again for Go Gigantic.
That's true.
Yeah.
I needed to know everything. Tell me
Like
everything.
it's just how that goes. And I'll just keep this short, but like we love this game so much that even no matter how many times we tell ourselves like, all right,
We're
cool,
all
I'm just gonna
crazy
try not
fans.
to like get too involved into things, and then we get ourselves too involved into things like left and right,
It's so
because
hard.
It's
that's how
fair.
much we love this game.
Yeah.
We always come back to it. Like right now with this patch, the state of play actually got a good quality of life increase, so I'm gonna be queuing a little bit more. But
Nice.
for like me, who I normally like to solo queue, I still have my own troubles I'm gonna run across with this.
Yeah.
Just how it goes.
Yep, and so there's all the effort that you actually see us put in, but then there's the times that you don't see, like how accidentally emotionally involved we get with this again. And I do want to call out, like, you'll see us saying a lot of positive things and correcting
Man.
people when they say things that aren't
Gigantic,
correct.
guys.
But you're probably not seeing when we're actually agreeing with things that are bad. We're definitely not looking at this with rose-colored glasses, just trying to, make this game work out of, sheer cope. We're hurting a lot.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
The
how
most
many-
heartbreaking news that I've heard was Psycho mentioning that, like, hey, you've got friends on the PlayStation side that you've legitimately told now is not a good time to buy it.
Yeah.
Now is like,
Right.
don't spend your money on this right now.
I mean,
because
and
it
in
is
general,
not
that's
a good
been
game.
my recommendation. And even with this new patch, it still is for new players who want to get into Gigantic, unless they're absolutely fiending for a very different and complex game. I don't think this is a good time for new players to join, because they're more likely to not keep playing than if they join when it's in a good state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
think that's a good
it hurts me to say that a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I've got Gigantic on my car. I am very, very invested in this game.
I don't know.
I don't believe you. No, just kidding. No,
Yeah.
I mean, Psycho nailed it on the head. Like, genuinely, like there is so much that we do as community people
Man.
that like try to
It's tough.
maintain this like
It's tough to hear.
positive affirmation. Like, it's okay, guys. The game's gonna be okay. Like we see these things and like we can totally expect this to happen, and we'll work through it. Like, it's just a matter of time. There are so many, at least for me, there are so many like private channels on DMs on Discord where I'm just talking shit
Secret.
about everything
Oh
and
my
how
God.
terrible it
We
is.
never
It's
talk about
Not an easy
how
thing
bad
to say something
Gigantic is.
good at the moment, other than like, hey, the game's back.
It's like I want to enjoy the game, but that's like the sad truth is right now I just don't. Like it's so hard
Mm,
to open the game and sit down and play, even with people.
mhm.
Like,
And on that point, my brother-in-law
This makes me depressed.
recently
It's okay.
got into Gigantic a couple of weeks ago.
We'll get to
he
good points.
heard me playing it, and
I
he's like,
swear.
"Oh, this is cool. I want
This
to
isn't
try
all
it
gonna
out."
be
So
bad.
we played it, and he's loving it actually,
Oh,
and he keeps wanting to play it.
it's great.
But he wants to play with me, so he's barely played.
Oh,
Because it's just so hard for me to open the game. I told him about this podcast. He's actually here listening.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
And
What's up,
he was like,
Psycho?
"Oh, so that means we're
Friend?
playing tonight, right?"
Are
And
you?
I honestly had to tell him maybe. Like, and that's every time I
Ooh.
realize that that's how I'm thinking, my heart just breaks a little more.
The honeymoon
Yeah.
period has passed.
no,
yeah,
I feel exactly
You're
the same
right.
way.
yeah.
Because when I woke up today and I saw
a
that
good
there
point,
were patch
King.
notes, I was like, oh
Should
my
just call you
god!
King.
And I got up and I showered and I messaged Falco like, I told you, release the
Oh
video.
my God.
And then she did
Falco
it.
released the video that you've totally finished about Gigantic. Look, okay.
Oh,
The only video I've made recently about Gigantic is a dateable tier list video. Okay.
it's true.
I've been kind of like stalled out on any gig. I wanted to make like a 10 stages of a
You should
Money
all watch
Mains
it.
video,
You should all
but
watch that video.
I'm like halfway through it and I'm stalled out because it would mean queuing to get footage. And it's either that or it's going to be me messaging Wolfie and praying that he's awake or
Hey, you
bothering
could message
Falco
me
to get
too.
footage. There's like, it's just gotten to that point where it's like, do I bother people to try and get footage for gig? Because Lord
Aw.
knows I can't fucking solo queue to just go get it and throw matches to like get it on my own.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
interrupt us here one quick. Speaking of getting
Oh boy.
clips,
Here we go.
we've actually got one of the newer content creators that's been putting out some awesome stuff who has decided to do a community montage. So I just want to give a
North
quick
Star.
shout out to North Star.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's just started looking for clips today.
He's so
So
good.
if you've got
Everybody
some
should go
amazing
follow North
clips,
Star. I'm sure
I
you
know
guys
I'll be
already
submitting
are.
some.
Right?
He is looking for clips to put in a community montage. And if you've
North
seen
Star's
his
really
videos,
good.
you'll
He's
know
very
it's
good at the
probably
game,
going to be
too.
put together pretty well.
He doesn't meme like
I
I
love
do.
North.
I swear.
He's so much fun.
Yeah, he's
so nice.
He's kind of new blood that this game needed too.
He's
Yeah.
he's one of those people that reminds me of how we used to be. Like, I used to give a shit about winning. Now I could not give two shits. I will throw your game. Just telling you right now. I will probably throw your game. Because I don't know what else I can do in the game. I feel like I've done all of it. Like, I played the game for years. It hasn't changed. It's the same, really. I mean, I hate, oh my God. Okay, don't get mad at me for saying that, but Sin and I, we play together and we're just there to have fun. Like, I don't care about winning anymore. The old me would be like, oh my God, what is this person doing? They're not even fucking like going for wound. They're not even like,
Yeah.
"Oh, what's happening? Not me.
Oh, it
Not
hurts.
anymore, baby.
Like, you and me still talk about it. Like, even though we are consciously aware, like, hey, we may not be playing fully to win because we're trying to have like do stupid stuff to have fun.
It's- I feel bad.
That doesn't mean
about
that we're not kicking ourselves in the butt for it later. Like, there's so many times
Mhm.
even afterwards where we're sitting there, it's like, you know, I hope I didn't make somebody so angry because I wasn't
Yeah.
going for the win. Like, it
That's
still
true.
bothers us.
Yeah, I feel so much worse about making somebody else have a bad time. Like that, but the problem
Same.
is I can't fuck around like that in custom matches. I can't do any of these stupid things I want to do. Like, I did a challenge where all I had to do was attack one person the entire game. Guess what? We lost. Really
Yeah, because you
bad.
could only attack that one person.
And
Oh, that
you know,
hurts.
there's actually a really good example of this
It was
that I'm
fun,
sure is
though. I
probably
had a good
still in
time.
one of your VODs. So
Probably
you
none
and
of
I
the
played
people on my team.
together with Trin and I can't remember who else.
Well, North
And
Star, that's
it was
'cause
on Ghost
you
Reef,
were
and Trin and I
fucking
were just, kind of being
carrying.
silly going for cliffs.
You
I'm
were carrying.
absolutely terrible at getting off the map cliffs with Woo.
It's hard sometimes.
And we weren't really
For me,
winning.
mentally.
But we were having fun. And one of the other people who was with us was like,
Hold on. Oh wait.
I just kind of wish y'all would play serious. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I
it
stopped
hurts.
doing that,
Yeah.
and you know, I stopped, you know,
I get
joking
it, though.
around in voice
Yeah.
as much, and
Mhm.
and yeah, we turned around and won the game because I was
Nice.
ruining somebody else's experience.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? I've done the same thing. There's been times where Sin and I are
Yep.
playing. He's just trying to cliff, which is all power to Sin, to cliff. And sometimes my brain is like, Falco, what the fuck? You're going to lose this game. And I switch and I like try and I'm like, wow, was it worth it? Like, why? Why do I still
There
care?
have been a couple times, and like we're
Yeah.
both guilty of it. Like sometimes
Yeah.
our brain switches to like the default, and it's like I want to win, and one of us
Yeah.
says something to each other where it's like, well, I wish we were trying, like actually trying, and like it hurts the other
I
one.
know,
It really always
it's-
does because it's just the nature of the game. It's a PvP game, and that's
PvP
just
game.
how that goes.
It's
That's
the goal
how
is
it
to win.
goes.
It always
The goal is to
right?
win.
So it is rough because it's like I just want to do fun things, and sometimes fun just doesn't mean playing the game correctly, and that's not fun for people around us.
At least now we have Rush. I feel like if I really just want to
love
have
Rush.
fun doing stupid things,
Yep.
you know,
You can do
I
it,
can
Rush.
go to Rush and I'm
Yes.
probably not going to ruin anybody's time. And if anybody
Well-
isn't having a good time, it's going to be over fast anyways.
Yep.
They
This
only have to
means
deal with
inting.
me for a few minutes.
Yep.
True.
It's why I go to Rush to farm my cliffs. It's why I go to Rush to like complete certain challenges or things like that. Because if I'm throwing because I'm aiming for one specific thing, like
You
for
hear
me
this man
farming
throwing?
cliffs,
Can you believe this?
I'm gonna do it in Rush.
Can you believe
Would
this?
I
For
like to
me-
play Clash? Yeah, but I'm not going to waste 30 minutes of potentially 30 minutes because I'm not bad enough
I
that
gotta
I'm
say this
already
example.
like down a
I
player
gotta
for
say
people,
it.
but I'm not good enough that by memeing that I'm going to be able to carry.
It's
You know?
This is
And-
true. And you know what? There have been times I jump on Gigantic and I'm like, you know what? I feel like trying today. I'm soloing. I'm just gonna get in there. I'm gonna play a Clash game and I'm gonna fucking try. And guess what? The one time that I tried, somebody disconnected within 2 minutes and the game was laggy as all hell. I stayed in the game. Somehow it ended with people leaving until we won. That was my experience trying. And I was like, cool. That was fun. That was really fun. I'm glad I
Yeah.
did that.
Of a similar vein, I feel like that is
That's
starting
rough,
to become a
man.
very normal thing, which is very
I
unfortunate.
was playing Trip though.
If-
I was murdering people.
If people are,
It is part of the experience.
if it's very clearly
wanna get into
one-sided,
that a
then
little bit.
people are
I'm
leaving.
gonna get into that.
And even when it's not clearly one-sided, people will, you know, you'll lose
Okay.
a wound, and people on that team
be honest,
will
that's a good
leave. And
topic.
sometimes losing a wound off the bat can even be strategic. Like just
Yeah.
you know,
You gotta time it
it's-
out. Like that's
Absolutely.
the shitty part.
Sometimes,
Like,
sometimes
why do
you
we
have,
have to
play
worry
a
about
slow
how
game.
Comment about
we
that.
take it?
Yeah,
That's actually a
Sometimes-
conscious thing I think
just
about
won't
while
let
playing.
them
It's
talk. I
like,
don't wanna
do we
interrupt.
take this too fast? I have cliffed myself to slow things down and make it like a more even thing because I'm so worried that
Watch out for
people
TruexSin.
are
He
going to
throws
leave
games.
because it's done too fast.
Not
Like
me.
if I get a
never
cliff
do that.
start of the match, I have had people leave the moment I cliffed them.
Oh
like
my
start of the
goodness.
match, first blood,
I've
cliff,
seen it.
and they left the game. And I'm
Oh,
just
yeah.
like, all right,
Yeah.
well that's that. That's
It's
what I
just-
get.
I've seen people leave for just dying the first time.
It's too
Yep.
bad. It's to be honest with you, the timing of Overwatch fucked. I mean, we talked about this before, but it fucked Gigantic in fact where Overwatch taught you that it's okay to leave. It's okay. Like you can leave. But
Yeah.
you cannot do that in Gigantic. It
Yeah.
just fucks everything up. And now, with the weird issues that were introduced, it really fucks up games. Like
Yep.
it actually destroys them. Before in
Has
the old
anybody
build, it
actually
didn't.
seen that happening in since the update? Because the few streams I've
Yeah.
seen,
Oh, good
people have
question.
left, and I haven't actually seen it happen yet. Now
No,
that's entirely
but
anecdotal.
Well, that's
the
good.
but the understanding of why it happens
hat? You
has
like my hat?
changed dramatically too, because originally it was a
Thank
lot
you.
easier to pin it on, oh,
I
that
was
person
gonna
had uncapped
North
friends
look.
and they left, so now we're all rubber banding
There's
because
also
they were
this
desync,
Motiga.
now we're desync. And then come to find out, as more of those people stop playing the game because they're ruining their own experience, and then because they leave, whatever, they stop playing the game. But now we started seeing the issue happen before this patch. We were seeing the issue happen rarely when people left. So who knows what it was, but some people were able to confirm that it wasn't specifically
I
because
hit
the
myself
person
in
who
the
left had
face.
uncapped frames.
I deserve that.
So who knows what
Totally.
the actual trigger was?
By the way,
By the way,
Eagle
don't
is
uncap
saying
your
it still
frames.
happens.
Eaglib saying
Yeah,
it still
and we
happens.
actually
Oh,
do
shit.
know
Oh,
that
that's not good. Great. Well,
they weren't even able to create it internally, so they had to do a test live
I'm so mad.
in order to even get logs to recreate that issue. And
boy.
the only reason we know that is because one of the GoGig players accidentally ended up in that match.
Oh wow, that's
There's
that's
different interactions that
something.
happen for leaving too. A different issue that it's not so well talked about is, you know, when people leave a match, there's a kind of a set timer before you reach the point where you
It's
get this match
crazy to
is
hear
safe
that.
to leave. If somebody leaves during the loading screen and it does not trigger the match to
Oh, shit,
fail,
Mozu
you get into the
Madness.
match,
Thanks for the follow.
you will never
Thank you.
get the "this match is safe to leave" message.
Thank you.
Never.
Thank you. Welcome,
Uh-oh.
Mozu.
We had a 20-minute game on one of them before,
Can you do the
where
voice?
somebody had left on our side during the loading screen.
Magic
We were
time.
4v5 for 20 minutes.
I'm the voice
Enemy
of
was too
Mozu.
afraid to push up. We were
just
holding our
kidding.
own for a little bit, but hey, once level 10 hits, we got overrun because they have
Oh.
5 level 10s. And we never
Mhm.
got the message that the match was safe to leave. That is
It
Oh,
also
that's too
only
bad.
triggers after 2 people have left.
That's too
on the
bad.
does
same
it?
team.
I've had a
Yeah.
trigger on one person leaving.
I haven't, but that just might be from my personal experiences.
It
So-
just seems
Hmm.
so random.
There we go. But who knows?
So yeah, okay. So
There's
like
so many issues.
clearly, like let's start breaking apart some of these things, right? So the first week happens. We're all excited. We watch as these big streamers try to play the game. People that are paid, by the way, by Gearbox or Extraction, Arc, whatever the fuck it is at this point, to play the game. Paid money, probably thousands of dollars, depending on how big they are, right? These people can't even fucking get in the game. We're watching them live with thousands of viewers.
Yeah.
Fail
And they're having to
join
go to
matches.
practice mode.
They have to go to practice mode. They have to fight bots. I remember watching
Fighting bot.
J3 was so embarrassing to watch this, and you just
His
see
entire screen.
the chat just toxic, and it's horrible to see this. It's like it just makes me and probably everybody in this chat and everybody here, like, it makes us all sick to see this.
Yeah.
It's like you took this game and you brought it back from the dead, trademark Failco, and you fucking killed it again. It's like Pat said an amazing line. He was like, necromancy is bad. And that's exactly what happened here. It's literally like risen from the dead as this zombie monster, and something happened where it's just more broken than ever, and it was somehow killed within that first week. I can't say that, but like the hype, we'll never have that
wave.
chance again.
The wave was missed. They crashed and went under.
Yeah, that fucking pisses me off so much, and I'm sure everybody here, and it just feels so unfair. Like, I know this is never going to happen, but I swear I just wish that Abstraction or Art, whatever, they came into the Discord and were like, look, we're having a town hall. We're apologizing to you guys, the community, the people who are in the credits, the people we credit as being why this is back. Yeah, where was our apology for destroying our game? Like, I'm still going to be so mad about it. And yeah, whatever. I'll always rep Gigantic because I love Gigantic. But do I love this new Gigantic?
It's hard to.
I don't know.
Let's
Yeah.
put a pin on that.
I
Because
don't
let's
fucking
look at the
know.
other side from this.
I'm so
There's a
mad.
lot. There's a lot that we can just pour onto the table here of what we're seeing happen with the game
Sorry,
and
emotions.
what is being done with it, what is happening. A lot more that can be said about what isn't happening.
Mhm.
But there is one fact that kind of remains.
Chat, what's
I'm
your
going to
thoughts
draw a line over
about
to Rainbow
Rampage
Six
Edition?
Siege, and this is me huffing a little bit of the copium for this kind of spin on this topic.
Mhm.
The fact remains is that they are still technically here with us, and there is a bit of a patch going. Do I believe that this is going to be a Rainbow Six situation? Absolutely not. And the reason I say that is because this definitely wasn't a Power World situation, and it definitely wasn't a Helldiver situation. What can really be done about that? Well, you can kind of try and build it back up. I hate how much I trust my gut feeling sometimes, but when it comes to this, the gut feeling is that I don't think that Gig is going to be seeing the end of its days. Is it seeing some bright days? Absolutely not. But just to show, while this may not be like, hey, 5 days later after release, we got a good patch. 5 days later after that, we get a better patch that's like a hotfix on top of a hotfix. It definitely wasn't that situation.
Right. Right.
And you can try to apples it to some other group or some other whatever, but it's never going to be apples to apples. It's apples to orange. And this is where, like, and I've talked about it on my stream a few times before, even while playing through V Rising or other games like that. What I kind of sit at now is maybe it's just the game itself. Like, understand that it's still on UE3. These guys took this under their wing, and they're working on it on an engine that is two generations out of date.
Oh my
it's
gosh.
not their original code, so how are they going to know the ins and outs? Let's look at TF2. Who the fuck's going to know that you can't delete the picture of the coconut if you didn't work on it?
What? Oh.
Yeah, Geek has in its files a picture of a coconut that if you delete the picture of the coconut, the game doesn't run.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Look, okay.
But little things like that. We got a patch today, and it's a genuine effort.
Yes. There was a lot of stuff on this patch, honestly, that I'm sure we'll get into in a minute here, but it's insane. Like, actually, do you guys have any idea how many people are currently working on the game?
No.
Not a
I have an idea.
Yeah,
but that's
can you say like a rough estimate?
I don't think that I can.
What?
It's understandable.
The number is under NDA?
The best that we can kind of come up with is something
I
you
don't
can
know
go
what
to,
it
like,
is, so I'm just gonna be on
or
the side of
wherever
caution.
they debut it.
Okay, can I just guess? What if it's like, is it higher or lower than 10?
It definitely seems like it's probably at least that on
Okay.
the abstraction side alone.
Okay.
It would make sense.
And abstraction aren't the only team involved. You know, obviously there's Arc. I don't know exactly what Arc is doing aside from telling abstraction what they want and what they can and can't do.
So, Arc is the group that broke off from Gearbox, right?
So ignore Gearbox altogether at this point.
No more
it's
Gearbox.
perfect world in the
Gearbox
game.
had bought the IP, by the way.
We can just
Perfect
essentially
world.
skip the fact that they were
Okay.
ever considered part of Gearbox.
Okay.
Because everything that stayed with Arc Games was already Perfect Worlds games.
Okay.
So they just kept everything that they used to have and are now Arc Games.
Okay, that's fair. Okay. So, okay. What do you guys think? I gotta ask, like, here and there little things that they've changed. What do you think about the build menu?
Which one? You talking about in-game or outside of game?
I'm talking about outside of game, which is like a kind of huge thing. That's, I mean, that was
So you're
one
talking
of the
about like
bigger...
making the build presets, right?
Yeah, to be honest, that was kind of a cool thing that they now have that we didn't have before. Pretty cool to actually have that. We don't have to go online.
I very much like
online.
the concepts. I very
I
much
like the idea of
Lilith,
it.
what's up, dude?
You know it's that much of a
Onion,
lower bar to
7-year-old
entry
Cole,
for new
brand new
players. You know,
developers
they
on
can
the
just
region.
load up the game,
Absolutely.
play the tutorial, or even skip
Absolutely,
them,
Onion.
and then go into Rush. And there's at least a couple of builds that aren't the main meta, but for the most part,
Crewmain
also
Wooford, what's
aren't
up?
terrible. And they highlight different play styles.
What's up with you
for
guys?
each
We're talking about
character.
Gigantic.
So, you know, like
If you're
it's
just
cool.
joining us, talking about the build menu on current Gigantic Rampage
I have some issues
Edition.
with the UI for creating builds.
Oh
but
my god! Oh my
we all
god!
do.
The UI! Oh my god!
She's freaking out.
Everything's so
Mhm.
fucking light.
Well, we're getting into Failco's specialty here, so
I don't
Yeah,
even
it's
talk
true.
about this. It's fine. I want to hear your opinion.
I mean, just briefly, I want to say like we could probably rant for several
Build menu is
hours,
terrible
like the
on
good
console.
and the bad that have happened.
I'm
Yeah.
so curious.
It's just
I've gotta-
like
how bad
I
is
just
it?
I was hoping
If you could
and
rate
kind
it.
of getting on the
From
bandwagon
A
of
to
the
F.
idea
How bad?
of sort of what Sin said a moment ago. Like it's
No,
not
no.
their code. It's technically not their game. They're working with an old engine. Like, yeah, it's probably going to take some time for them to actually get things done, get things through.
Yes.
But also, like,
Use auto buy instead
Just-
of manual. Oh, damn.
I mean, Falco and I have talked about this
that
for
sounds terrible.
weeks now.
I'm
It's
sorry,
like,
Onion.
I would just like a little more clarity. Like, please tell me what
Yes.
you're working on. Please inform me. Like, I can't do anything about it. Obviously, I'm not a
Yeah.
dev. I'm not part of your team. But I just want to know. I would like to
Yeah.
know like a little weekly recap of like, this is what we've tried to
Mhm.
do. These are some of the issues that we've seen. Like that is,
We can't say much.
I feel like
But
it's so easy to do.
In that regards, I can say that conversations are happening. I can't say who is starting them and holding them. But there are some conversations happening about that specific topic.
Ooh.
I mean, I will say it has
Ooh.
been noticeably improved since we've started. Like,
Let's talk about impressions. Let's talk about impact here, at least with this. And it's mainly because like I don't want to go into like the details of
Okay, here we
hey,
go.
well there are murmurs or there are things to come kind of a thing, which is to be expected. But let's look at it like this. We started off pretty strong. Yeah, there was hype. Yeah, there was a marketing push to things like that. But the moment that like the issues started showing up, we
Mhm.
got radio silenced.
Yep. Absolutely quiet.
There was no
Discord,
support on that regard. We were cut as a community.
no Twitter.
And I mean, with
And I'm sure it's because they
the
went all hands to work on whatever they're needing to work on. But like, what happened?
Mhm.
and with the amount of changes they did, some of them even unexpected. Like it's clear they're doing a
Yeah.
ton of work.
Yeah.
You know, all
absolutely.
of all especially like when it
Mhm.
comes to the collision issues, there were a ton of them. And
Mhm.
we really couldn't even be specific
Right.
on them, and they've gone and fixed a ton in this latest patch.
Mhm.
So like it's obvious they've been doing a lot of work.
Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Uh,
there still hasn't been the communication. Like
Yeah.
so it gives me hope that more is happening.
Yep.
But
I need
like
to-
the more they don't talk, the more it seems like it
I don't
isn't,
wanna- I
even
don't wanna cut 'em
though
off.
they're showing otherwise with patches like this.
so
That's
okay.
the most painful part about it. There's just bringing the community back and then leaving
Gotta
them on
wait.
red.
Yes, it's true. It's kind of awkward. So okay, I just want to like put this in there just because it's something I've thought about a lot recently. So I'm on the mod team, and so like here and there, like they ask us things like, "What do you think? Like, what's the biggest problems? Like, blah blah blah," and like we help them with those things. So everybody knows that they know what the biggest problems are. They know these things. The problem is that I am unsure, and all of us are, if we should be saying things to the community, right? There is
Yeah.
kind of this weird disconnect. We're not on their team. We're not being paid by them. It's not our job to give announcements to the community that, you know, stuff they're doing. So it's this awkward thing where it's like, are you going to say anything to the team? Like, should we? It's really awkward. And I've never experienced this before, this lack of communication. Don't you want the people playing your game to be excited about what's happening, that they're they're listening to you? Like, that their
And
questions are being answered?
that is what
just
is
don't get
really
it.
kind of driving the nail in when people are starting
Crazy.
to talk about this being a dead game.
Oh,
You know,
shit.
they'll see the Steam numbers, they'll you know, see how much activity there is
so
on
nice.
Reddit or Discord, and
Trip
you know,
gameplay.
they'll just immediately start to say dead game. And you know, it does have some of those signs,
Right.
quite so I can't exactly blame them. But when you don't have any developer presence
Mhm.
for weeks at a time,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
it really just makes that so
It's
much
rough.
more real.
It's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
we can-
so difficult.
And we
Yeah.
can give praise. We can give praise to the work that they have done. Like obviously
Mhm.
the two and a half patches that have come through, like we've seen great things. It just feels like the problems are like it just feels like many of the problems that we need to get addressed aren't getting addressed. And if they are getting addressed, it's taking way too long.
Right.
And that, I mean, you know, I'm not a developer. I don't know shit about coding. So like I can't speak. Like it could be incredibly difficult, and they're working with so much nonsense. We know from the Motigan devs, like there's
For real.
spaghetti code for this game. And
Yeah.
and like Sin said, an engine that is several
Mhm.
versions old at this rate. Like it's
And
probably
a
really hard to
Just
fully
work.
watching
custom
this
network
trip
system.
gameplay is like
They
stressing me out.
had to completely make their own networking system
Yep.
to get this game to work. So there's also
Wow.
that. And like, how is a team supposed to come in, you know, with a fully custom network system for
Mhm.
UE3 of all things? Yeah,
Yep.
like they
It's
definitely
not-
have their work cut out for them.
Yeah.
In no way of looking at it can you look at it and go like this would have been an easy thing, because it's not.
Right.
It's definitely not. But
It's
knowing
not all
that
enough
it's not,
that.
but knowing that it's not easy, we would like. I just feel like the community would really like to know that it's not easy. There's so many people that are
Exactly.
saying like it's just it's taking too long, like too little's
Yeah.
getting done, and it's like we know that
Yeah.
it's not looking great,
Yeah.
but they're
yeah.
doing their best. And
We're on an
best is
Easter egg hunt
not
as a
great.
community, just trying to piece the trail together. Like, hey, like, yes, they may not be able to talk about like what actually went wrong, what exactly went wrong. They could talk about it in a general, but at least like some kind of breadcrumbs, so we know it's like it's not like an abandonment situation, because we almost went a month of radio silence. Yes, they interact on. Actually, let me put it like this. Yes, they interact on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, that platform.
Yeah.
But it's only when there's good or positive-esque announcements, like an upcoming patch note. We got goaded with the last patch note, and I mean GOAD. We got goaded with the last patch note because they said you guys should be expecting a big patch this week, and we got teeny tiny patch that doesn't solve anything.
Yeah.
They said nothing.
I know they didn't
publicly
say anything
in an announcement about whether or not it's like something happened to that big patch. We didn't know. You know what they did? However, in a comment on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call that platform,
yeah, in a reply,
in a reply to a comment, hey, we're experiencing troubles. The patch is being pushed back.
Oh my goodness.
And it was up to the community then to get that out there. And I was one of several who was constantly like linking that and showing people because the devs just weren't.
But easy question here.
I say devs.
Why
Whoever's in
are
charge of the social
you the one having to push that to the rest of the public, the rest of the community, the rest of your follow base, the rest of the gig family?
It's almost like Gigantic doesn't have a community manager anymore.
Yeah.
I wonder what could have happened there.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, I'm being very sarcastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
Too bad, really. I mean, you're talking about SoFetch, right?
Of course, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he got let go for Perfect World, and I mean,
Who knows what
everything's
the
about
details
money.
were of that? But damn,
Onion, thank you so
that
much
hurt
for the
the most.
follow. By the
he
way.
gave so much to like help this game come back, and that's how it.
Yeah.
That's how they close that chapter. Hey, you know what? You've been promoted a fucking customer.
Yeah. So
It's getting mad.
I know. It's really
Can you
unfortunate.
tell I love this game? Can you tell I love everything about like that surrounds this
When
game?
you love something this much, even if it's almost perfect, you're still gonna get mad about the things that aren't.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Something about this game really makes us very passionate about it. I've never felt this way with any other game. But then again, a lot of other games that are like this, they do the things we're talking about. They have the updates. They talk to their community. There's clear paths forward that seem very easy for us to be like, what the fuck? But basically what it makes me think is like, what the hell is going on over there? Like, what is going on? Are they like imprisoned? Do they need help? Are they starving? Like, what's going on?
Blink twice if you
talking
need
about
help.
I would legitimately wonder if they just over
really
at Arc
I wonder about.
haven't gotten a community person for this yet.
It is possible, but I thought they already had
Right.
one. I thought the community person was specifically from maybe for like the abstraction side. They don't necessarily have like a community person, but I thought
Well, I mean, they would. They're just doing development
art game
work, right?
side to have.
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they're
mean,
just doing development. That's it.
but if Arc does, we don't even know who they
Comment
are,
about that.
and they're
Hold on.
extremely inattentive. And that's what makes me wonder if they even have anybody assigned to
this
Gigantic
trip with no
for
stamina in
this
this gameplay.
outside of the occasional Twitter post
Unbelievable.
and dev update.
Yeah. I don't think that they do, because if
It's possible
like
they don't.
on the official
Hmm.
quote unquote gigantic Discord channel,
Mhm.
I feel like every post in the announcements channel is from a different person. It's just like it's never the same person
Yeah.
making a post. And I feel like that alone is already kind of a problem that you don't really think about until you look at it. And you're just like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like it
Oh, my
and
camera
can I
froze.
just brief brief small thing that I just wanted.
Flim on
very-
Discord.
That's
Yeah,
very good
you're
point. I
right.
didn't realize that.
You're
It makes
absolutely
me
right,
laugh
King.
also as well. Can we just talk about
Absolutely.
briefly the fact that the first
posts
notes
so
that we
much.
ever got looked like
He
they were
answers
made by an
people's
intern
questions.
that didn't really know what he was talking about?
Wait, what?
The first patch notes is what
Like
he's referring to.
That's
the first
wild.
patch for the game
Oh
when
my
it was
gosh.
when it released.
It was
Okay.
incredibly vague.
It was so
It was.
vague.
It was so many things
That's
that weren't
wild.
even on there that got changed too.
like like
Hmm.
It was
HK
a
that
community
got-
Easter egg hunt. That's all it was. Hey, we were in the month of April. It was an Easter egg hunt.
So, okay. So like things have been weird forever for us. We're a weird community that accepts bad quality. Why is that? Why do we keep going with this when we
For the
know
love of the game.
because the game
I
is
can't-
Honestly, I love
fun.
the game.
Are we all just
The-
coping? That's
the
real
game is
question.
fun.
I've been
and I
through
want it
so
to
many
play.
iterations of gig. Yeah,
You know,
like I want to say,
aside
like that's just
from-
how we are with this.
Aside from overall match quality, this experience is so much better
Had to put
than
it
the
out there,
private
guys.
servers. You know, and
Oh.
us on the private servers have been suffering with our cope forever. And again, aside from the quality issue, everything about this is better.
Mm, mhm.
I will say in an official capacity, it is better because I will look
It's
at it
great.
and mention it from a different side of it when it comes for like those who, okay, so this is gonna be a double-edged sword of mentioning it. When it comes for those who are like pushing the bar, pushing the limit, and like they're pushing the boundaries of what can be accomplished at the highest level of play for gig,
Yeah.
the private server was better. But here's the problem.
Yeah, definitely.
Here's the problem. The private server was better was because they were basically just doing scrims anyways.
Right. And once again, community run as usual, as balanced as all things should be. The community taking control of the game again in a different way. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, and once they fix customs, I see
Crazy.
people actually using those more
impressive.
than matchmaking for those higher
Absolutely
level
impressive to
games
me.
just for their daily games until things change.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's really
And it's just-
cool, honestly.
Customs was probably
Oh.
another big heartbreak for the release of this game. Why is it peer to peer? That should have been left on a branch that was the break glass in case of emergency
before
branch.
we break into that,
They really do need
I
the
do want to
community
mention
manager.
that
Absolutely.
yeah, we've actually been prepared for
Maybe
that
they'll
exact
hire
scenario
Flim.
over at Gig Heaven.
That would be cool.
Being able for
Flim
custom
actually
games
community
to
manager.
go that route
As
and
one of the most knowledgeable
the
people
community have a platform to make
in
those type
Gigantic.
of custom games
That'd be pretty sweet.
in a fairly automated way.
I don't think it's
So,
gonna happen.
Yeah,
though.
once they're fixed, if that's what the community wants, there's already a plan in place for there to be a way for them to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, now let's go back to the peer-to-peer thing that TruexSin is talking
Oh.
about.
How do you guys feel about
that's
peer to
just
peer?
that's just what it is. Like peer to peer is
What do you
not a
think?
great kind of way for the customs. And it's not like they didn't know what it would be used for. I think they knew exactly what it would be used for. The idea of custom matches. However, yeah, the peer to peer thing should have been on a branch that was break glass in case of emergency. Like this is the hey guys, this game is going out to you guys. So here's gonna be this
Is that your
version of
dev
it.
voice? Yes.
So funny.
What?
But you get what I mean. Like
Yeah,
why
absolutely.
why would there like a smaller kind of server kind of set up just for the custom matches that were separate from the matchmaking servers, from the like actual matchmaking servers, so that people weren't farming MMR, like
Right.
which was an issue that happened in the old version of the game. I'm glad that people can't farm MMR from bots, and I'm glad that people can't farm MMR from custom games, because those were actual legitimate issues from the original launch of the game.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Oh my god, so wild. So, okay, I have another question. Since the game's been back, this is a positive one, because I've been only doing negative ones for a while here. So, since the game's been back, what has been your favorite moment so far? Have you had that moment that reminds you of old Gigantic, where you're like, yes,
Absolutely.
let's hear.
I've actually had a few, so I can't really recall terribly specifically. But they're mostly comeback moments.
Ooh.
Almost every one of my epic comeback badges has been one of those moments. Actually, I do remember one in particular. I
Nice.
was Sven on Ember Grove,
Mhm.
my absolute least favorite map. Yes, I do enjoy it less than Picaro, even though it's still more balanced than Picaro.
I'm on the same page.
I cannot believe
I-
the slander.
Picaro is actually a worse map, but I still have more fun on it, despite it being a worse map. Anyways,
Dude, Onion,
so
that's awesome. Congrats,
with
dude.
this match, I had team
Congrats.
just really not being very
Best
friendly with
feeling.
each other.
Best
And
feeling.
then as the most experienced player in the room, as I'm sure we've all experienced too many times, attention turns to you because you're the experienced person, or in this case, because you're the support player. And so people start like turning on you and telling you how bad you are and how
no
you're not playing right.
heals.
And
Bad heals.
and you know, I was just like, you know what? Sure, whatever. Like, I'm not doing this, but you know, I'm gonna start playing with the team a little more. And you know, I started actually typing in chat with some helpful things. You know, I
Nice.
was very careful to try to not make it sound sarcastic or too pushy. And you know, the team actually started like following that. And then
Nice.
eventually they started just following me without me having to say things, listening to pings and stuff. And even the person who was, you know, kind of raging earlier on in that game, you know, kind of
Yeah, but
fell
Onion
into place
Spen's
with
like
the
the
rest
strongest
of the
character
team.
in the game.
And
They can't
we
make him
did.
even
We
stronger.
fully
Come
had
on.
a comeback.
He could do it all.
We had lost 2 wounds. I don't think we'd even gotten a rampage at that point.
You know, he's got that debuff
And we just
immunity and
fully
stuff.
turned around and absolutely annihilated.
Strongest
just
character
because
in the
we
game.
started working together. And
Character I
it's those
suck
team
at, by the
moments
way.
where you can actually work with people,
Just like Kajir.
especially if you
Can't play
turn
the
somebody
character.
around from raging to like just having a good time and playing in the game.
Yeah, that's
It's
amazing.
You.
And also we
It's
couldn't
so
win off of
good.
kills. This was the other big thing. Our team was not skilled enough to win off of kills. So we
wow.
went by strategy. And we took advantage of mistakes that the other team made.
You want him nerf but healing buff.
And we
What
got
would you
3
change?
wounds off of
What would you
strategy.
change?
And it's just like, you can't do this in games that aren't gigantic. You don't have those kind of comebacks.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's true. And it feels really good when you're able to actually do it.
I think I've actually got that game recorded too.
Before the MMRs, like before the imaginary number that's
feeling.
attached to every one of our names that we can't see. I mean, invisible number, not imaginary. It's very real and it hurts us all. Before the invisible number got way too high for everybody who's like from the very specific like higher bracket of the MMR family.
Yeah.
The one thing that's happened for me that reminds me most of old gig was running into a lot of the players that I knew, like on the enemy team and on my team at the same time. So it was like I was actually using the in-game voice. Like, believe it or not, like I did use the in-game voice during this re-release when I was running into these people and we communicated, and it was literally like just you're tipping the hat to the other person, like, hey man, GG's, good try, or like, hey man, GG's, well done, like we did this. Kind of a thing.
Good.
And then good luck next. And we run into them. Maybe they're on the other side. Maybe I have somebody else on my team. Like, it was an actual situation. And that was the one thing that
This makes me so happy to hear.
that was the one thing
with
that
old
reminded me
friends.
of old gig was because when we had that population, we were able to have those games, even whether it was on the Microsoft servers or whatever. You would have those run-ins and you would talk to those people and you would communicate. And it's all right, GG's, good luck next. Like, those are some of the best quality games.
So good.
But of
So
course,
good.
then, you know, once the numbers start changing, you just got to pray that people are playing at the same time.
It's true. It's true.
How about you, Wolfie? Do you have one of those moments?
Mine are a bit less. Mine are a bit more vague, I should say. But it's just kind of a general overall kind of feeling. First, I wanted to make a funny quip about what you said about people blaming your supports. They're going to do that all the time, no matter what. Coco does that to me like every other day.
Wolfie just doesn't heal me enough.
I'm like playing Trip and Falco be like, Wolfie, heal me. I'm like, I literally can't.
Wolfie,
but
res me.
Trip just told me don't touch me, so you know.
Just won't res me. I don't get it.
I think one for me, like a kind of a quick one, what was already said as well. Just being able to reconnect with people that I haven't talked to in literal years, like that's been such a very heartwarming moment of just like seeing old names and recognizing and kind of garnering that respect and like rejoining like old Discord servers that I never really thought that I would see the light of day again. And just being like, wow, everyone's still here. Wow, everyone like is still super tight knit.
Cool.
I love
what a
that.
crazy community.
I think one of my moments also is just kind of any of the community run tournaments where I get to shoutcast, because that was kind of like, that was just the thing. I mean,
so cool. Yeah.
I'm gonna get a little like, I'm gonna get like a little emotional, but like like I wanted to follow this game even several years ago, and when the game re-released like only 2 months ago, my hope for my future is to follow this game in some professional capacity as broadcast talent, whether it's being a shoutcaster, an analyst, a host, somewhere in between all three. I don't know. Like that's my dream. If not for this game, then something very similar. And if
I
Steam
think
falls under,
what your dream position, if Gigantic continues, is a cool topic that we can maybe touch back on later.
Yeah,
we can only see what the future holds, because this is again, we can offload so much negativity about the current state of gig,
creating your whole group.
But there are two sides to every coin. Like we are seeing signs of life.
You can look at I still want to hear what Felco's one was.
Oh yeah,
I was hoping you would ask.
I have another one too, but it's also very brief. But yeah, it's the community run tournaments, just getting to shoutcasting, getting my foot back in the door there, kind of retracing my old steps. Also, I think another really fun thing is quite literally just queuing up with anybody. Like anybody that's a constant streamer, like Falco or Sin or Paul or sometimes any combination, and just quite literally being a total chuckle fuck through and through the whole experience, just laughing at everything that we're doing.
Good times.
Living.
Just hearing just hearing Falco scream at everything. It's just like, man, it's like time never stopped moving. It's like we just all of a sudden we hit the play button.
Way, isn't it?
You know, what's the thing that Sin did on his first couple of streams? It's like, wake up, it's 2024.
Oh yeah.
Or something like
wake up, it's 2013. It's time to queue Gigantic again. That's what it was. That's what it felt like.
We're just all a little older and have a little less time, but like,
what do you mean?
We didn't
still
care
a kid.
about like. We didn't care about all the issues that were happening right at the release. That's not to say like there were fucking issues on this April 9th release. Don't get me fucking wrong. We were just talking about a number of them. But we didn't care. At least for us returning community, we didn't fucking care. We dealt with that shit.
We're still dealing with that stuff. We always will.
Tragically, but yes.
I'm not gonna let her get away without it. So what's your
what's your favorite thing, Falco?
Okay. So this one is kind of my favorite and least favorite thing at the same time, and Sin will know what I'm talking about. My favorite thing so far has been the first tournament of teaching new people the game.
Oh, that tournament was awesome to watch too.
I have never felt so much anxiety about like trying to teach people things that I've forgotten over the years, and then trying to make sure they have fun and teach them things, and like just meeting a bunch of people that were so excited for the game that I loved was just, I don't know, it just made me feel so amazing that I could help them or just even be there in such an event. It was just an amazing time.
Did you have a particular highlight out of that as one of the coaches?
Oh yeah, there was, okay, the one game we won in the tournament, it was like clockwork. These people were just like, you could see it, the gears moving. They were doing it. They were having fun. There was laughing. They were like, you could tell that like their passion was there. And something about it, like, it just, I don't know, it just like made me feel like a proud mom. Is that like okay to say?
No, I get it. 100%. Just earlier today, I ran into one of my mentees on the other team, and while it made no sense why he did it, he fucking ran my ass down.
It's so fun. Oh yeah.
I was retreating from a fight. I'm Sven, 1 HP. I'm trying to just live. There's no reason for him to chase me
Good
that
time.
deep,
It's
But
but
you
he
know
ran
as-
my
you-
ass down.
You know as well
Yeah,
as I
yeah.
do that we ent for the homies. We've got to get that one kill. We've got to get the one.
It's about sending a
Um,
message.
But
I
this
love
is
that.
this is
So good. So many good
Failco
people
talking
came out
about
of
this
that.
is actually a perfect segue to
Amazing
something.
players like
so
emerged from that tournament. It's really cool.
if I could choose, ultimately, what I would like to do with and for gig, it's actually to be a coach. Because I'm a decent player. I am above average, but I am not even at Sin's competitive level. He's talking
Not
about him
even
being
at
washed.
Sin.
Well, it's because he's talking about being washed, and he's being too mean to himself.
I'm pretty washed.
He's pretty good.
When he tries,
But you
that
know
man's a menace.
there are a few younger people out here. He's right that do outperform him.
Oh my god, there's so
you know,
many people.
and you know, like I'm well below.
Y'all are
Sin's
too
level.
good at the game. Stop.
So
okay?
I could never
Actually, don't stop. Keep
technically
being good.
be that
Keep
good
going.
in a competitive game.
Keep inspiring everybody.
But I've got a lot of the knowledge, and I can see the patterns. And you know, I feel like I could be a great coach, and that would be a lot of fun for me if this game were to actually, pop off a little bit and teams were to be a thing.
I can see.
I don't know that I could make a tournament winning team, but I could make a good team that's entertaining to watch, even if they're losing.
That's all you
And
need.
that would be fun. I would love to be able to do that for Gigantic.
Honestly,
I still hear
love
about
it.
possibilities of future
Love it.
events, and I'm already like I'm always at the cusp of just like jumping in and be like, get me in there, I'll help. Like me with my non-existent free time, I'll
I
help.
don't know about that.
But the reality, like the thing is too, is like we still need some things to change before then. Like we just need a better quality of life for the custom matches, because I think this patch might hold for quite a while. Like I think this patch is okay, and then they can start messing around with smaller tweaks.
It's exciting.
I want to get some people to go to a LAN event, because then the custom matches being PvP or
How do you guys
peer
feel about
hosted
LAN events?
are actually going to be great.
Yeah. Next thing you know, we might see a gig themed battle royale, maybe an extraction shooter. Hell, I'd love a gig card game. I'm
Wait
not
a
gonna throw
second.
something out like about a gig card game, but I don't. You do not have any idea how close that of a reality that almost was.
Wait
It
a
was.
second. Can we dig into that a little bit? So
No,
you're...
because it's a friend who was doing something silly with that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, actually, almost was a reality.
So, okay. On that note, though, because I know it's 8:38. I don't know how long you guys want to go, but I know that kind of leads into this next thing of future gigantic things. And before that, actually, this is my question to you. What do you think? Do you think that there is passion here? Do you think that the devs... Okay, some people say this feels like a money grab. What happened, how it was released, how it is being handled. Do you feel like there is passion behind this and the willingness to make things from this and continue it?
I'm going to let Sin start off.
Okay. Okay, so hi, the most polarizing blue ghost.
That's why. You're going to have the most interesting take. So I think
Okay.
it'd be a good start.
I'm scared.
So I'm gonna go and get this one out here. I'm gonna get the negative one out here because I am a corporate rep. So I see this from a business perspective. When it comes to looking at the business relationship between the dev and the community, the dev to the publisher to the devs, and the publishers to the community, it very much looks like there's passion from the publisher side, but I'm pretty sure there's more backing that is involved with that, and the passion from the developer side is failing. I want to say that there was some, but at the same time, like there's too much now that is buried underneath a mountain before we get to see any of that passion again. And I think that's where that kind of sits. Now, let that not go without saying that I don't think we would have a patch today if there wasn't a passion to push, or at least some financial, tender.
Okay. That's fair.
All right, so I'm gonna come in, and first I'm gonna talk about things that I actually have no
He's gonna-
information on.
It's gonna talk shit. Watch out. This is gonna-
Just based off of how the game has felt, the timing and the type of patches that we've got, it seems like there's multiple groups that are working on it that actually have very different
Multiple
ideas
groups.
and opinions and goals for the game, and they might be butting heads. Just
Huh.
as an example, April 9th, it was way too
Interesting.
soon. The game was nowhere near ready for release.
Right. Yeah.
But there have clearly been people who were interested in making very cool community-driven changes.
hmm
Zandora buffs, fall off on Amani. Like this is something that probably never would have gotten touched by Motiga. And it's just feedback from the community that has driven that, and we've been getting it. So like there's clearly some group who is interested, but there's another group who seems to be interested on just getting things out. And there
Right.
might be even more groups that are butting heads. I don't know. Or there might not be any. But it's definitely the vibe I'm picking up.
Interesting. Huh.
And I kind of already
Huh.
hinted at the other one. At least somebody, if
Never
not
heard
a
that take
group,
before.
is passionate. Like Sin said, because not only are we getting patches, we're not getting the bare minimum. We're not getting what we need yet. Like let me cut off that one. We still need very different patches than what we're getting. But there are different development teams in every game, and they have different specialties. So people who are working on character balance aren't the same people who are fixing bugs. So,
Right.
that's kind of stuff gets worked on at the same time. But the type of things that we're getting aren't the bare minimum.
What do you guys
And they're
think about that?
doing interesting
Cash
changes
grab or
too.
not?
So like clearly somebody cares. How much they care, I don't know.
Right.
But there's somebody,
I
if
agree.
not multiple people.
There's somebody. So, okay, that is such an interesting answer. The different takes, different vibes. I have to do a short comment that I noticed today from the patch. The change comes from the title, a title that you get in the game that used to be called Drac Apprentice. It is now Dark Apprentice. Like they didn't realize what the name was, and
Out of
they
curiosity,
changed
how do
it.
you get that specifically?
The
Isn't
title?
it having levels in Charnock?
It's Charnock.
I want to
It
say
is Charnock. Okay.
and it is supposed to.
So there was
Messed up.
an internal discussion with me and Sin and a dev where me and Sin
Oh
were
my
having this
God.
conversation.
Oh, really?
Yes. So well,
I
that's
want
all
my
I'll say
Drac
about that.
Apprentice back.
Yeah. So then, if it
It'll
is
probably come
Charnock,
back,
then
but I don't know.
that is actually a sad thing. Then that they accidentally
Aw.
corrected that.
So that's kind of the thing, right? Like it does feel like, and this is just a comment on the new team versus the old team that I just want to bring up really quickly because of what you said here. So it's like there are a few things here and there where you're like, oh right, this isn't the team that make Gigantic, and then they do little things that really bring the game further away from what it used to be, aka let's just really quickly talk about the biggest change, which is the skill icons, right? They did this work of simplification everywhere, and it feels, I'm just curious, what do you guys think about their touch to the game? over
I
the
honestly
old
want to
one?
hear about that from you first because you've got actual dev experience in that specific field.
It's true.
Okay, so I can see, to be honest, like I can see why they did it, right? They're trying to associate characters with less colors. Like there is like a grounded reason of why it makes sense to reduce colors. But you can see that they wanted to reduce information everywhere in the entire game. AKA the kill feed isn't enabled on default in a PvP fucking game. That makes no sense to me at all.
sense.
So it's like,
yeah, that's
this
wild.
team is all about removing information, and it makes you wonder if they understand Gigantic at all, if they understand PvP games at all. Why would you remove such a useful feature in a game like
Well,
this?
they definitely have some good experience in PvP. I'll just point this out before you continue that
Sorry,
they
getting
did
mad.
end up taking over development for Halo Master Chief Collection and brought it to the amazing state that it's in now.
Okay.
So
I will
they've
also
definitely
say-
got some good experience in that realm.
Okay.
While we may have lost in
Mhm.
some like feed information like that, like the event power feed, one thing that they also have done now versus what we have in Motiga, like Motiga, when it comes to abilities and readability for what things did with your abilities and upgrades,
In
is
particular, numbers.
significantly less than what we have right now.
Oh,
and
yeah.
while that was a huge recommendation, I'm sure from like the
Mhm.
community and feedback,
Mhm.
they
Yep.
acted on it. They acted
Yep.
upon it when it
Yeah.
was
We
actually
see-
something we've been asking for even back then.
We see actual
Mhm.
numbers for our health and stamina on the bars now.
Right.
And then throughout almost all of
Mhm.
the abilities, I mean, descriptions aside, there are problems and there's some missing information.
Yeah.
But like, they are putting in these numbers. And like Sin said, that was 100% community driven.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's definitely nice to see how much health you have. It's very obvious when you're in combat. Like they have a lot of interesting UI tricks that they do. To be honest, though, the one thing that I really do not like is how much the ult area flashes. I remember when I was playing the game again, I thought I had my ult all the time, but it was just this stupid animation that would play. Like they overloaded it for some reason. But otherwise, I think I like a lot of the little animations that happen. Like it's clear that their team really likes to do that. So
I mean,
yeah,
they
and
recovered all the abilities for a short time.
yes, that I'm really curious about that because clearly they got paid to do that, and it just feels very unnecessary in terms of like bringing the game up.
And with this interesting team dynamic, we also don't know if that's something they wanted to do or something that Arc told them to do.
Oh yeah, my gameplay's in the small window. I'm sorry.
We
There's
don't
no-
know.
And that
That's
plays
another
no
one of the things we
audio.
don't
I
know.
could put the
However,
audio
what
on
we
it.
do know is that they did bring that back.
Yeah,
They
sorry,
brought
sorry,
back
Turtle.
the
It's
original
just...
icons.
Oh, they did?
If I remember right, yeah.
Oh hell yeah!
The
Maybe
easiest one
it's
you can look at
too
is.
long.
I take that back. Never mind. I'm wrong.
Oh,
I'm coping. My brain is just. I'm having memory lapses. Nope,
You
that's not
wish.
back yet.
you
I wish.
they would
I was like,
back.
wait a minute.
My brain's already lapsing.
That's pretty funny.
I wish they would bring that back. Well, we got a little bit of push now with getting the poop hat off of Granny, which
Thank
is just coming back in a
goodness.
classic skin, and now the
Right.
spikes from Margrave are non-existent, which mainly because it came back as a classic skin.
Yeah.
So that's great. We're getting a little bit of a victory on that part.
It's okay. So one of the last things I want to like talk to you about is how do you guys feel about how much content they released when the game came out? Like they released all of the characters, all of the maps, everything but ranked basically was just out. How do you agree or disagree on that strategy?
I
kind of agree with it.
I do, but I also feel like
Banshee, you agree?
it might be just because I really wasn't expecting Roland and Kajir to be available
Very
immediately.
curious about that.
I was kind of thinking like, oh, they're just gonna have like this neat
What are
little
your
thing,
thoughts?
like just
Give me your
like,
thoughts
oh,
in
they're
the chat.
teasing these two characters and they're still gonna work on them, and then realizing that they're actually in the game and they're also both hella
Yeah.
busted. But that's a different
They
story.
were just both
just
in
like-
the game at the same time, yeah.
Like they were just there, just all of a sudden there, and I was like, oh, okay,
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah, it's such a weird dynamic when it comes to
Yeah.
that.
I think Rush was a great addition to the game, love it or hate it.
Yes.
I love
Um,
Rush.
It you
I'm
know,
a Rush
people
enjoyer.
will often say
Big fan.
that Rush develops really bad habits.
It does.
It does, but at the
it
same
is
time,
true.
it teaches them things that would take them so much longer to learn in
Mhm.
Clash, and it gives people a way to keep playing in the game, and that's
Guys,
the
do you like
one
Rush?
thing that
Yes
a
or
lot
no?
of people who talk bad about Rush don't understand is the majority of players, if we get an actual player base,
Rush enjoyer.
probably never going to regularly play Clash.
Rush
Yeah.
is the ARAM of Gig.
I play
Also,
Rush only,
brief intermission
mostly.
here. It turns out that Drac Apprentice is Xeno Mastery level 3, so
Xeno.
It is
could
dark.
be dark. It could
Oh,
actually
no.
be intended to be dark. So no more Drac Apprentice.
No, I want to be the Drac Apprentice. It's the
I know, I thought it was
stupidest
so
name.
cool, right?
We might just put in on the GoGig Discord to add a Drac Apprentice.
Thank
Maybe.
you. Hey, Camper.
Maybe, but who knows?
It's all right. You
Maybe it
always
could
pay
just be a funny nod.
Dreyfus, yeah,
But
you
either
get
way.
it.
I still like the
Rush.
idea that I think somebody posted on Reddit.
You said you would hate
that,
Rush when
I
it came
want
out. It's better than you thought.
half-flavor title.
That is
That's,
actually pretty
that's a
funny.
good take to have.
That's amazing.
That is pretty good.
I like it
That
because
is
it's
really good.
quick.
Not
and
my idea, but I also can't credit whose it was because I don't remember.
something about the games being
But
quick.
yeah,
I've
I
just
don't
been
think
really
it was a
enjoying lately.
bad choice to release
you
a
can really
bunch
try
of
things
things
out.
like immediately, especially when they
Different
also
builds and
like
stuff like that,
they
which is
included every
really fun
character,
to
they
me.
included the new game mode, 2 new maps, and also like a balance patch, all at the same time. That was kind of
Right.
crazy when you think about it.
They took a different spin to making everybody purchase into an EA. That's kind of the way I see it now. Is we were expecting a release because it was slated as a release, but instead it's felt like EA.
It's nice to be in and out.
I've got to ask
yeah,
if
I'll
I
play
can
Clash
talk
with
about
you
this, so
sometime.
I won't
Let's
do it
Let's clash it up
in this
sometime.
podcast. But if I'm invited back again, I'll see if
No.
I can get the approval.
Just kidding.
But I have there is an interesting
Sorry.
approach that they had to the initial release and why
Oh.
they chose some of the things that they chose.
Maybe
So
next
I'll-
time we can get a dev and we can.
Yeah,
interview
maybe.
them.
But
I mean,
at the very
I'm
least,
not
I'm
lying
gonna
here.
ask about
You're very bad.
if
Don't
I
worry.
can
I'm
give
bad
that reasoning.
too. Don't worry.
Because
We'll be back
it is pretty
together.
cool. It tells you where they were coming from, and it's one of the things that gives me so much hope for the game is just how they started the approach. And I really wish I could, so I'm gonna ask and find out.
Okay, that'd be really interesting.
That'd be pretty cool, yeah.
Like, my opinion on this is a hot take, and I hate that they released everything at once because it felt like, here, we're taking your money, take this broken shit, and get the fuck out. Just go enjoy this broken stuff that feels like it wasn't tested at all together. We don't care. Bye. That's what it felt like.
With the radio silence compounding on that, yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
I kind of see
Yeah.
where you're going there, yeah.
And it made
Yeah.
me really confused because they had this weird opportunity to be like, hey guys, time for everybody who didn't get into the beta. Now enjoy Rush. Great, we're going to test that for a while and then get ready for the next hero, Roland. And like that would have been really exciting. They had a real moment here to
Yeah,
build their
they could have also
presence.
slowed down the development alongside it and scaled with it. There's different approaches that could have happened, but I'm
that's
pretty
my
sure it's
opinion
like
on the release.
they wanted.
What do you guys think?
I'm pretty sure like
too
impact
much?
was something that big that played there because most things you need an impact, a good strong impression.
I just think
so
there was a big
who knows?
opportunity missed
Yeah.
with that.
again, it may not be something
personally.
we ever truly know, but I'm sure that there was vision behind it, and that's where a lot of that beauty
Yeah,
lies.
that's what I think.
Because we right now, hey, game servers are still up. We
Yeah,
just got another
Camper.
big patch. We're
Yeah.
seeing more signs of life. And here's like, if we have any kind of closing remarks, and this is like again, hey, I've got a little bit of copium. I've still got copium for this. The Steam numbers are a lie, and the reason I say that is because unlike original Gig, unlike the original launch of Gig, we don't have just 2 platforms and we don't have separated platforms. So looking at the Steam numbers alone, that would be the only way that I look at that. But the reality is I see way more console players. I see way more ARC names. I see way more anything but Steam
And you know,
when I get into matches.
this I'm gonna touch on something for chat here, and I want y'all to propagate this because it's another one of those weird lack of communication dev things. When you don't have crossplay on, it doesn't mean that you're only playing with consoles. It means you are only on that platform. So Xbox only, or PlayStation only. And this is especially going to affect people like Epic, which probably has the lowest player base.
Yep.
If you don't want to be stuck on the actual platform you used to purchase the game, turn on crossplay.
It's the fastest way to get matches too.
Yeah, it's not just putting you in with PC.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah.
that's not what that means, at least for Gigantic.
Gotta put the
And
crossplay
that
on.
came straight from a dev.
Mm-hmm.
That is not hearsay. That is actual information.
Okay, I covered that in my settings video for Gigantic.
Self-plug.
Oh, something like
Imagine self-plugging on your own podcast.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Why would I
What
do
in the
that?
world? Sheesh.
But okay, so I know it's almost at our mark. We said 2 hours. It's approaching that. I just want to get some final notes, and basically, my question to you guys is, what do you want to see next from this team? Like, what should we expect from them next? What should we hold
Now,
them
do you
accountable?
mean next, or like
The next step
next
of GA.
couple? Yeah, or like
Well-
overall the next evolutionary step for Gig? Like, what
Yeah.
next do you mean?
That's
It's
what I
yeah,
want.
which is a good way to
That's
kind of
what I
approach
know.
this, because it's not like we have a roadmap. We have an idea of what they're
Mhm.
putting out next, which is like
Battle
they're prepping
Pass.
up for ranked. And I don't
Battle
blame
Pass
them
would
for
be
the way
cool.
that they're approaching this, where it's like, hey, you know what? We're gonna toss out this balance pack. We're gonna
Oh.
wait for some like reactionary fixes and tweaks on top of this, and then we're gonna look to see
Something we
what we
can
do
add to
with
that.
ranked. Which,
Yeah.
in the current situation with the impact that they had
Yeah.
with this release, it makes sense to do that route. And
Yeah,
I
I
okay.
agree.
I little.
Like, if we're just talking about the actual very next thing, it's fixes.
Right.
You know, with some more balance and not ranked. I don't want ranked to be next.
What I would like to see
Right.
next is not peer-to-peer custom matches, because while I may no longer be an actual competitor for the tournament scenes,
Right.
I want to be in the stands cheering on these next teams that are going to take up the stage. And
And
right
if they're
now,
not
in a
gonna turn it off-
peer-to-peer is rough.
And if they're not going to turn it off,
Yep.
let the spectator be the host.
Yes.
That
That way
way,
you can
all
always
the
have a
players
consistent good
also
host.
have 60 FPS, and you can have consistent hosts. Like, I would love to host the American tournaments. You know, I've got a
Right.
little bit of experience hosting Gigantic.
Adding
So,
new
like,
guardians.
at the
Oh,
very
no.
least, let us do that.
Fix the
Yeah.
goddamn solo queue.
I
So
would say
go ahead.
also, I do know that they're gonna release ranked next, no matter what. I feel like that's just gonna be the
I
case.
think we're still
unfortunately.
getting patches.
That's their goal.
There's a possibility, yeah.
We're going to get to ranked, but they have to. There's a few more potholes they need to dodge in between.
I
More?
honestly don't think they're going to launch it until
That would be cool.
they're able to put in a lever penalty, and they can't put in a lever penalty until other things are fixed.
Yeah,
So
I
can I
do
chime
think that
in?
that's what I want to do, or want
Let me
to.
chime in here.
I'm gonna do.
So
Go ahead.
I can tell you for a fact that we have begged them to not release ranked until these other things are fixed. Otherwise, you're literally just putting paint on shit. So you can't polish a turd, right? Like, it's gotta be,
You can
the
try.
game's gotta work. So they know it is at the top of their priority list as far as we understand, but I don't know. We'll see. They know that no ranked until game fix. Will it happen? I hope so. I mean, they already have our money. What else do they need?
More money.
And
More
I think
money?
Everybody
they have
wants more
several.
money.
So, okay, that's one last thing I wanted to talk about. Without any kind of clear idea to us, the players, with all of the content promised already out, do we actually think there will be any more content other than maybe a few skins, maybe cosmetics? Do we think that's it in terms of?
I think that it's definitely possible, and that comes straight from a dev interview that's on YouTube.
It's definitely
Really?
possible.
Send
Yeah, I
me
foresee
that.
more a
I
Heroes of
wanna-
the Storm situation
Send me that
where
right now.
it's going to go into seasons. We're going to see extremely slow development on top of that. But until we get to the
Ooh.
ranked part, I believe it is a Rainbow Six Siege
More than
situation
just
before
skins.
they got good. Because if you remember, Rainbow Six Siege was a game that dropped off the map, and it wasn't until years and years and years later that for some reason they kept developing it, which God bless them, they did. Siege got back onto the map because
Interesting.
people started going back towards it, and they were like,
Really?
"Oh, this is a good game now." I think if we make it to ranked, there's a chance that might happen, but that's
That's
going to be
exciting.
dependent on how much of us are still.
King, tell
hoping.
us all.
Yeah, I've
Tell us all
seen
about it.
a lot of signs of life. I've seen good and bad, and I've been chugging the copium, as
So
they say.
curious now.
Snorting, I guess. I don't really
Wait,
know.
what is it?
Um,
Is it alcohol or drugs? Make a
it could be
decision.
both.
Okay, it's both.
I do think that there
More
could be more,
characters.
but like I'm kind of agreeing with Sen. I think it's just gonna be really slow moments of little balance changes,
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe some extra creatures. Like there's still creatures
Ooh.
in the files that exist in the game. Just
Yep.
And
aren't
there were
available.
Yep.
other characters
Olga,
that
my
were
beloved.
pretty
There's-
close to being finished.
What's the
Yeah.
desert
like
drake?
Javash. Yeah, the desert
Javash.
drake.
Volga.
Drake.
Oh,
the Oni
Portal,
Infernal,
Hotshot. We were gonna see them, but we're gonna see Javash,
I don't know.
Rang.
Wildcat.
However, even if that's exciting to me, do you have confidence that they can actually make them not this broken state that we saw Roland and Kajir in? Or are we
As we
just
look
gonna...
to close, I
Yeah.
think this is a good note for this one. From my part,
Mm-hmm.
they need to rebuild that confidence.
Yeah.
And it's
Ooh, I
more
like
on
that.
the
They have to-
interactions between them
Mhm.
and us as the community.
They have to prove that they're starting to understand Gigantic, because that's the only way those heroes ever came to be the way that they were, is
Right.
by them just not understanding the game.
Yeah, I think in a world where a dev or a couple devs ever hear this, I think the takeaway from us to them would be to please actually listen and communicate with the community a lot more.
listen to us.
I think
Because-
they've shown that they are listening in some capacity.
They
but
are.
They
for
just
sure.
it's a one-sided conversation, and
It's
that
true.
hurts the community far more than I think it's
The
realized.
game wants us to see release more characters.
Just more clarity, more
Yeah.
knowledge,
Mhm.
I think
more
these
little things.
absolutely amazing points. All of you have brought like an amazing perspective. I mean, obviously, I expected this from you, and I'm proud of you. And I've really enjoyed talking to you guys. I think this is a really good place to end. If you have any last things you want to tell the chat about, now would be a perfect time. Wolfie, I know we're not doing those videos. It's my fault.
It's fine.
Thank you, Falco, for hosting this. Thank you for allowing us to also join in on this. Me as your co-host,
Absolutely.
Psycho. Thank you for jumping in, and Wolfie
been
as well.
great.
Thank you for jumping in this on such short notice, because
Wrapping
we
up,
literally
guys.
had this idea towards the earlier part of this week. So thank you guys for your availability. I'm sorry
Yay.
about the botched haircut, but I'm sure they'll catch
It's
you up.
not that bad.
Um,
It's not bad. I sent Falco a
but most
should I
importantly,
show it on
for
stream?
everybody who's still
feel free.
fighting so hard for this game to like breathe life once again,
There's
for those of
Psycho.
you who have been huffing that copium
Question,
so
should-
much harder than
What do you
like
guys think
some
of
of us
Psycho's
who have
haircut?
barely been able to like bring ourselves to open the game, given the current state.
What do you think?
You guys are the community,
yes.
and
Hydrate or
we have many
dehydrate?
of our
All right,
chances
Onion.
to make
Can I
everybody's
cut it?
voices heard, to help steer this game, to help get this game to where we would like it to be. So
I love it. It's
until
very
they
good.
shut down the servers,
Thank you,
like
thank
we
you.
always have hope.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, genuinely, I can't agree
What a
more.
great stream,
I
guys.
think it, because right now it's super hard. Like there are a lot of super dedicated people that are sometimes still throwing up streams of the game and
I'll keep
sometimes
this
still
on for now.
posting videos and definitely being active on several Discord servers. Like those people,
Several of us are probably going to be doing it this weekend.
exactly.
Mm.
I know I
Hmm.
am.
But those, those people are the ones that are going to be like the continued like path makers for
posture
this
is a
kind
good-
of game.
Mhm.
It's just like,
Yeah.
I've had several agreements and disagreements with a lot of different people, thinking of like, some people will say like, no, it's like mostly the development team that's going to make or break this game, and I say no, I think it's majority of the community that's actually going to really make this game
Mm-hmm.
be the ones to actually finally let
Yeah.
it take off. We all know that it can be incredible. We've seen several signs of this game just being amazing, a huge impact
Absolutely.
in the scene, competitive or not,
honestly-
esports or not.
Like, I am seeing like stars of the community starting to emerge and be like the people who are putting kind of like putting out the fires of people like doomsaying or being mad or whatever in the Discord. And it's stuff like that that's amazing. That's going to be what keeps this game and community alive. I mean, it's what's always kept it alive, let's be honest. So
Yep.
let's all remember, be nice to everybody in the community. Don't put down people Don't shame them for being bad at the game. Like, we're all fucking bad at the game, all right? Get over it. So just remember, small community. So we all got to kind of lift each other up. That's the way that we're going to keep on going. And, you know, like, thank you guys so much for being here. I'm going to close this out. We'll I don't know, if chat like this, we'll do something like this again. Let me know in the comments below.
Ooh, future podcast, the gigantic chapter. Honestly, that's pretty exciting.
I love that. Oh my god, Pat!
As well. For those of you all, keep an eye out for it on YouTube, because I'm
Pat,
pretty
thank
sure
you.
Falco's going to be releasing the cleaned up version
Pat,
of this.
holy shit. Thank you, Pat. Yes, I will be releasing this as kind of like a talking heads thing. It will be podcast. I'll put it on everything. Why not? This is the start of something great, something gigantic even. And all right. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm going to be ending stream, hosting somebody from the gigantic community, and I will talk to you guys again. Thanks again.
Take care, you
Absolutely.
guys.
Thanks for
Thank you for joining us.
Hope you enjoyed listening. You can find Failure Incorporated on Spotify, and also you can find WolfieCasts on YouTube as WolfieCasts, TruexSin on Twitch, SycoAniliz on Twitch as well, and of course me, FailcoPunch on Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. See you next time.